Could be an issue. Now, what's your last pick? Do you Pantheon hit? Take it off the table, give yourself an early game jungler. Xin Zhao's probably not bad here either actually.
Renata could be interesting into the Neferi. That's what they're thinking, to do that into the Rel as well. Goes a bit more prio bot side. And Varus, Renata, one of the more lane dominant duos out there.
Yeah, they were, so, WWE happy to lock the Poppy into the jungle. I was wondering whether there was another jungle option, because Poppy, I think, into the Rel is often very good, and you could play well with the Varus around that, but instead, as you're saying, Renata into bot lane, not going to lie, not a big fan of Vampire on the Renata. I much prefer him on something like that melee support like the Poppy, which is another consideration you have to have in games like this. WE, let's get through our narrative checklist. WE, it has been a very long time since they have been a top team. If they win here, they would get towards top 4 for the first time in God knows however long. I'll have to look up the last time that they achieved that.
The crowds will have to yell first, and then we'll continue debating. Solid WE fan base there. The last time we saw this team win, there were tears in the crowd. People were so pleased to see this team win. They have been one of the longest standing fan bases and organizations in the world. Certainly in LPL. Now, a few more of their fans have begun to believe, made their way over here to Beijing, where the arena is being filled up with all the fans for this LPL playoffs. Themselves, the draft, I think, that can play very heavily through the mid game here, which should give them a lot of agency with people like Monkey and Karis to get rolling. And Karis in particular, what a series he had in the last showing down against the likes of Scout.
He was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. His Silas, his Akali, everything really worked out very well for him. And he's on a champion that can once again be a big threat. Hard to play the Ahri into the Neferi at points, quite mobile, and the dogs block your skill shots. Of course, the Scion can be a problem too. If you get beyond them, you get into the juicy backline of top esports. That's definitely an angle for success. 369 on the Scion, though. Got to get through him. That is a problem. 369, God of Peel. Got a little far forward here. Jackalope putting the 4th shot back.
Going to look for some loyalty Brigham. Pulls out that pocket pistol and shoots Chris briefly. Worth noting as well, Scion interestingly started with the Soul Furnace level 1, not a decimating smasher, and then try and just step forward and threaten the wave and the rumble with a bit more of that shield roll.
Oh, 369 always very good at knowing his ins and outs of his matchups, and yeah, it gives you that wave play and also lets you shrug off the E's as well. The E start from the rumble with the Conqueror build, not uncommon, I suppose. Jackalope taking a little more damage than W's bot lane, both from popping pots. Kanavi clearing through bot, so going towards top side. Going up towards WE stats, though, Cube has obviously played an awful lot of the Rumble. Most teams have at this point. Taeyan, of course, on the Vampire too. Not on the Vampire, on the Varus too. A little more veteran. And while I said, you know, I'm not a big fan of Vampire's Renata, he is 2-0 on it, despite my misgivings about his individual performance. Monkey rushing bot lane.
He's going to try and get down there. It's level 3 Poppy! Full build, Jackie's in danger, and a wonderful handshake puts him in some serious bother. Flash on forward from Taeyan, looking for the autos, gets the blight attack. When is the Q? Hail of arrows. Isn't enough?
6 HP in a dream. Jackalope makes it out.
Oh, Taeyan blows the flash there as well. Every summoner pretty much available to be blown there is down, aside from the cleansing knight. Supposed to cleanse on the other side of Taeyan as well. So not every summoner, but a lot of them.
How could we possibly forget about full build Poppy? Gets level 3, gets a red buff, and Poppy starts popping off. Poppy doesn't need anything else except level 3 and a red buff, which is exactly what we see there. Jackalope and Chris falling down to their first stand foible, which is if Kanavi is pathing away from them, sometimes they play to push up, but also not with a minimap. They push up there, and they were about to put a ward down, but they don't realize the timing. Monkey's there on just enough time to force out the summoners. Jackalope will have to take, well, took that early recall. Doesn't die at least. I don't think Karis is going to die here. He'll have a W cooldown and he'll have charm. Should be fine.
The Dark and Daggers get charm. Monkey's now coming on over. Do they want to keep
No.
playing?
You don't have damage at that point. Like, if you don't hit the double daggers, even if you do hit the double daggers, I think it's a bit marginal because Karis still has the flash.
I want to see what the Monkey wanted to think about engaging, actually. I was thinking, maybe.
But he'd already used the flash, so it's like, it's at that point, it's just like, Chris, by the way, insane.
Very
like that completely saves the play. That is clutch as hell. The fact that Jackalope makes it up on as little HP as possible is heartbreaking for WE.
The body block from Chris was very clutch to stop that handshake, but Jackie, all calculated.
Poppy doesn't need anything but level 3 and a Red Bull. That's a sponsored segment for you right there. Red Bull Poppy. Navi takes away the Raptor Cannon to get all of them. Gets most of them, actually.
Decent job on that invade, obviously spotting that reset. I suppose Kanavi still got the pot, still gets that opportunity to get that additional spawn on the camp. Bit annoying there for the side of Monkey, who has, in the end, ended up dropping that carry.
That's one of the problems of Poppy, of course. You go for the Psycho plays and you lose camps because of it. Jackal of Chris, they're pushing up in the bot side. Now, of course, now the thing is, their bot lane survived the gank, and Kanavi is in the top side jungle spotting out Monkey, which means the lanes get to play more aggressively. That is, of course, one of the bonuses of Top Esports playstyle, where they have very good individual lanes. And then Kanavi, if he is up in your face and something like that, Kanavi. Sometimes I just refer to it as Kanavi because I've just seen him play.
Yeah, I know. We're doing it. We're both doing it now.
Yeah, the Neferi, he does get to push in, get value from invading a lot because Neferi really likes that's. Okay, ult for wave clip. I was wondering whether it was more for a trade, but nope. Gets a quick push in.
Wave down, getting a lot of value. Deadly Flourish does land. Kanavi should be sending some dogs at Vampire, but not too much more. That'll be the end of that for now. Of course, with both bot lanes being shy their summoners, that potentially leave both open to being ganked in reasonable ways. It also means that the Varus Renata can't shove as aggressively as they might like, actually. And Jackie and Crisp have managed to stabilize. It's only a couple hundred gold, but that's mostly in the 5 CS a sec.
Yeah, worth noting in regards to that shove, the reason why they also can't get shoved that easily is because they're the on-hit Varus. The poke Varus is the one which kind of always de facto gets shoved on hit. Not always as simple as that, because you don't get to kind of like ping the enemy champions with poke and force them off the wave as much. Dragon now started from WE, and WE will respond to that.
B69 eats an auto or two there, not too much more to be found. Hammer shot on the Scuttle Crab. The hammer. I think that's what the key's called on Poppy. I'm pretty sure it's hammer shot.
I believe it's hammer shot, yeah.
I always think of it. Hang on, have I got the correct one?
By the way, thank you all for all the stream streaks and chat. By the way, Cream should be safe here. Yeah, Monkey stole without that flash.
Stream streak,
60 from 369, forced away actually. But yep, Kais with the 60 streak, Xerath with the 60, Pinchlet with the 7, Fairytale with the 5, and Kasari with the 5. Thank you everyone for supporting the stream.
Angie hit 75 the other day.
Yeah,
pretty mental as well.
Yeah. I'm a little worried for here for WSM. I think that they need to get early advantages. I think that they need to play around the one item spike. They failed to get value from the very first ganks of the game, and Mecha just gave up 100 gift bomb as well. Jesus, the oil it flows here. Top Esports going into the enemy jungle. The Raptors taken once again. Getting farm advantage for the Neferi, especially if the Poppy is not getting kills, is a huge benefit for Top Esports.
Yeah. Keep our eyes on it. There's a few WE supporters in chat. I see Laurentian sitting located. They'd really like to see a WE win. And the thing is, I can't deny that, because genuinely WE's story has been so wonderful. We keep going, yeah, but are they really a top 5 team? Are they really something capable of doing that? Well, maybe they got the potential, but actually they're going to run into someone like a Top Esports or a JDG and not make it any further. And they've kind of proved us wrong at nearly every stage of the competition.
Well, the things really changed around the JDG series, because I don't want to say like they've upset everything after that point, because you know that the early series for or like the mid series in Ascend were not necessarily the best. We might have a play around the grubs though. Kanavi not going to hit guard that Sham. Ults onto Karis, trying to over ult for ult.
Let's go ult for ult. Kanavi will earn that out of Karis, now at half HP. Kanavi, though, as a result, won't be able to get all of the grubs. I wonder whether WE are happy enough having nab 1 and just saying, look, that'll do, we don't give them the full set, and that gives us something here, but we can't stay and fight anymore.
Yeah, Kanavi has the smite, Monkey doesn't. This is often the case with grubs. You smite the first one, it means you really can't contest the other ones after that. Really like how Kanavi played that. One of the big problems with Ahri is you cast your charm, you have nothing to stop someone jumping on you at that point. So Kanavi goes ult for ult, takes the better trade, means that W can't possibly look for a fight afterwards. And thank you so much for the extra 10 gift bombs, Arif, as well. 110 gift bombs out there.
Qatari as well, make it 120. Grief.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, if there is a hype train, I'm pretty sure gift subs are actually cheaper at that point.
Oh, are they really? Wow.
So, anyone else?
Any more for any more?
369 gonna be ulting towards
Speaking
that
of
top
trains,
side.
I know. Yeah. I'm not sure that's a hype train though. That's
Dude,
like
I'm just saying, if
we
we had like brand activations within the game itself, I mean, like Hype Train Conductor Scion would be pretty good.
Oh my god, yeah.
Hype Train Conductor Scion, I mean, we already have, like, the Ornn one, right? But,
I mean, I was just thinking, they've updated the Twitch overlay for a lot of League of Legends stuff, so you can like hover over various champions to get all their.
That's only for
stats.
LEC, I think.
Is it only for LEC?
Well, we don't have it on our stream.
I saw it on. I think I saw it on LTA last night.
Yeah, so basically LEC and LTA share a lot of the same tech, from my understanding. Which is why they have similar overlays and stuff like that too.
We're going to start getting some of this integration for League stuff. That could be quite cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you compare it to something like Dota, which has really good ability to view things in game, so you can actually watch on your own client esports games, but then get the announcers over it. It's really cool. I love the tech that they have available for that. So you can just be your own spectator in the game.
It's quite cool as well because they have like stadiums in the skyboxes to fill up with the viewers. It's just like, it's really cool.
Jackie trying to play back that, getting the clan. Wow, Jackie 1v2 just styling him, aura farming.
And he gets all of the shots down as well. Not that much damage, but, you know, earning the cleanse, earning the heal, hitting every shot. Jackie, he's been really good at Jhin this year. And
that's also one of the reasons why I have some questions about Vampire's Renata, where if he was a Leona there, I think that's a successful play. Because it's a Renata, you have the handshake and you go, ha, I caught you out. Without realizing you don't always have like the initial engaged threat to back up that kind of promise. You know, you've got a handshake and that's kind of it. Right there, you know, Jackie just confidently 1v2s. Yes, is behind a little bit of farm due to that early gank, and I suppose some... yeah, I'm not so... that's a little much to actually be fall behind, because he's 20 CS down, but still, doing well there in the 1v2.
That he is. Scream. Throws out a few soldiers. Not too much more there than clearing out the way.
Also, wow, that's a laning phase advantage.
Yes, it is.
For the Azir over the Ahri. So... if you are a very good Azir and a very good Ahri, there are definitely windows for Azir in the 1v1 to really abuse the Ahri pick. You often don't ever find yourself in range of charms. Thank you for another 10 gift bomb, by the way, our buds as well. You're all being very generous today. And what Azir can do is trade when your runes are on cooldown, and yours are obviously still kind of ever present. So Ahri with stuff like the Taste of Blood or Cheap Shot or Electrocute, trading on that rune cooldown is strong for the Ahri, but outside of that can be a real pain. Yeah, and again, Karras is one of those players as well, where sometimes he just pops off and crushes every lane, and other times he messes it up and it starts to snowball away from him. There's a drop happening right now. And actually, Monkey gets a good charm combo there into the backline. The Magnet Storm comes on through, not that much value. Cream goes in for the slide and glide. The Bailout comes on toward a Vampire who does die. Dragon secured by Kanavi. Monkey's in the pit and goes down as well. The rest of the fight looking pretty ugly. 369 finally brought down by Karras. Gives a reset over. Cube flashes on in. Flame Spitter brings down another member. 369 Zombie doing a lot of work as there's some serious damage back with the Dark and Daggers. Jackie low. Throws down that captive audience. Cleanses. Captain Jack!
Charm. Flash for the arrow though. Taeyeon's not letting him get away with that one. Call the pack. That means it's becoming a 1v1. Reset on the ult. Taeyeon's got nowhere to go. And Kanavi cleans up the fight. It's a 5-for-4. Blood smeared everywhere.
Is it any surprise our regular season MVP is top dog? 301 Shojin completed. Kanavi pops off in the fight. Good fight for W overall, though. They still walk away with a bunch of kills.
That is really insane. Let's have a look at this fight again. It starts with Chris denying Monkey getting in here early, and they try to pick him off.
However, you know, I love how 369 immediately puts himself as a wall between him and the rest of the team. I don't think the hostile takeover was good. It doesn't ping onto many of the auto-attacking members. And of course, the Azir and the Jhin don't really get hit. 369 does make a mistake here. He should just not flash, die on top of the enemy backline and just use the passive a little better. And of course, no body block there. Bit unfortunate for top esports because that was an obvious angle for attack. So some micro issues from top esports, but even with that, Kanavi so strong. Doesn't matter that they made those mistakes. Neferi and Broken split early fights at one item is so goddamn strong.
5-for-4 and the Dragon. So it's a win for top esports, but my days is a bloody one. Let's kind of just take stock at the end of that all. Cube comes in with a kill, couple onto Taeyeon, which is good for him. Karras gets some value too. The problem is really on the other side, the fact that Neferi did get so much there is kind of scary.
That's terrifying. Terrifying for W. Also, by the way, just catching up in chat as well. Thank you so much for the gift bomb, Fairy Tale Mute, and of course another 10 from Xerath as well. And Evil Verity. Hope you're doing well. The support obviously means an awful lot. And I know we try not to talk about chat as much when we're in game, so it's very important for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Matters less to you. What matters more to someone like Cube, though, as we talk about less about that, is 2 people on his screen. He's gonna die.
Does go down. And is swiftly blown apart. Napoleon, not the one.
Vote Pedro. Same guy, right?
Yeah, I've only watched that movie once.
Same, and it was really good, actually.
It's a great
yeah, Napoleon Dynamite. It was very, very good. Jackalov doesn't have Flash or Cleanse, so you need to be careful here. Karis finding the angle.
Oh, wonderful punish, because of course Jackie with the Captain Jack earlier now doesn't have the Black Pearl to get out to safety.
Jackie, you should just not be walking up there. You don't have vision on the top side, and Karis finds the easy angle. No summoners to respond to that. Doesn't have a Dark Seal, though, so not my favorite there. Wave clear cancelled here, actually, from the handshake.
Double charge, actually, the hostile takeover is eviscerated away from by Kanavi. Keeps him in the play, Karis trying to stay alive, can't get a reset, and 369 says, yeah, no, you don't. Keeper's verdict comes on through to try and spare the blushes a little, but top lane turret falls, and 369 just murdered them in mid.
So, Jackalov makes a mistake in mid lane. WE make an even worse one. I think W thinking, okay, well, the AD carry's dead. They think that they're safe. They don't have the Ariel. They don't have the summoners to fight back against an insane engagement from 369 and Chris. They did choose to give 369 Sion. I want everyone to know that. They chose to give 369 Sion, one of his best champions of all time. And he's holding him to account over that. Herald will go down. Top esports have the feats of strength from the objectives and the first tower now.
That's pretty mental. They get so much value there. It's another 2 kills to Kanavi, by the way, who's the one secured all of that. Very clutch eviscerate out of the hostile takeover to keep himself in threatening range. Early Shojin already, and he's yet to reset, I think, off the back of that play. So I have no doubt that on the next back, this dog is about to come away with an insane buy. So do check that in a moment or two when they do reset. We've got a minute until Dragon, so it's got to be happening soon-ish, one would assume. Spare a second moment as the hype train keeps going. Kais, thank you very much for even more support.
Yeah, let's see if we can get some golden Kappa train. Cube has no flash still. Kanavi has way too much gold. He's almost even level with Cube. That is a very dead Rumble. Cube, we talked about him having a decent record on the Rumble. Top esports cannot for that and take him down.
They definitely do not. Got Dragon in 30 seconds, and Kanavi cheats it.
You don't win this fight, by the way, Karis.
Oh, no, you don't. That's pretty much. Retained to at least get the mid-tier once. They've got something there, and credit to W for continuing to play, but this is a tricky spot to be in.
Yeah, W going in for an invade, trying to take something on the bot side of the map, and they will take the red buff, which is nice enough for them. They get something back, I guess, but W, they're clutching at straws a little bit. I know it's only 2,000 gold, but as we were saying, WE, this is where they spike in the game. One item is where they are probably strongest, and they are losing because Kanavi is so goddamn good at his champion. And now he's at 2 items. So now you're playing into the enemy spike. The 2-item spike from Top Esports is really nasty. You can see here, yeah, Ari doesn't win against Sion if you don't have something like a Leandries. It's a really hard matchup to play once Sion gets ahead of things and, of course, has the magic resist first item too.
Dragon is up. Top esports in the river, dropping the Herald. Dragons have been traded 1-for-1 right now, but I'm just saying, look at that Neferi's inventory. Karis is at half HP. A Monkey comes out just about to safety. I was a little bit nervous there, but I forgot it was empowered by Monster Energy.
I love these Mega Cones, man. The Mega Cones are fantastic. As the gift subs as well.
Is it Optimus Prime subs and the Mega Cones?
That sounds fantastic. Yeah. Optimus Prime, yeah.
We could have a Decepticon themed cast.
I don't know enough about Transformers besides the Michael Bay movies, Sam.
That's true. I feel like there's a few of our mutual friends who would be very disappointed in this.
Yeah, Dr. Wolfenstein out there somewhere, and
CEO as well, yeah.
Would be very upset. Also around the map again. Top esports on the whole. Typically when a team lets an enemy team hit a turret, they need to be trading for something, right? If a turret's being hit, you want to do something else. Vampire, he does have a handshake. I don't think it keeps him alive, though. Forces the flash out.
Deadly Flourish just wide. Again, Z-Axis always makes me question where those shots are coming from.
Dude, this Neferi is so strong. It's so strong to the point where if you just start slightly out of line, you end up blowing summoners like that. 369 and level up on Cube as well, and as turret's going to go down. But continuing that conversation earlier, when someone hits a turret, you want to cross map. Can't manage it. Kanavi, he has W. It's quite hard to make a play, and he dodges the ults.
That's... Oh, I hate this man on this champion. He's so insane.
That is just not okay. And now Monkey, with a swing and a miss, is going to run into a Sion, and Kanavi's back. So, I don't know, run, little puppy, run!
Trying her best. That decimating smash charged insanely fast. What the heck? Monkey now in danger. The equalizer is coming on down, try to keep him alive. Actually, Taeyun's coming on over as well as Chris. Redemption buying some time. Monkey now in a good spot. Kanavi doesn't want to join us, and 369 is split off. Forced to flash. Shows a corruption. Just land into the arrow. Good shot from Taeyu.
369 goes a little too far. They find the initial start to a good play and don't quite realize when to say quit. WE pick up 1 kill. Anything to really get off of that? No, it's some gold, but it's a nice way to stop top esports from running rampant.
That was a nice bit of response, and good to see there are still some teeth here for the side of WE. Again, they are only 2,000 gold, only 1,500 gold behind. The issue is where the gold is behind, right? Like, it's in the jungle, it's in the mid lane. Cream and Kanavi are really online right now, and that should scare you. 2 items on the Azir early is pretty scary. I honestly thought Monkey was dead to right. Face checks, the Scion has already had an awkward escape pattern. You're thinking, okay, this Poppy is so dead. And then the Avengers assemble. And Monkey is kept alive. Captain America with the shield, I suppose Hammer in this case, does a good job of making sure that they don't go down.
For sure. I mean, 369, if he has ult, probably would live that. Of course, just about doesn't. He could have gone unstoppable through that. In fact, I was actually wondering whether he did. Oh, that's a bit of an unfortunate place to be, Monkey.
He is so dead. We'll get Hounds pursuited, and maybe I should have said Thor at the same time, as dearest Fenrir here does their father's work, and Loki smiles as pseudo of Thor goes down.
Vampire is not having a great game on the Renata. Missed pretty much all of his ultimates right now, and that one really hurts when you're looking towards the next big objective fights in the game. Those hostile takeovers are the mark of a good Renata player, and Vampire hasn't really been able to nail them in the way that his team's needed to buy some extra time in those team fights. Atacam will go down because the jungle's been so easily picked up, and Kanavi just continues to steamroll. This guy, he comes off of an MVP in the regular split, and they haven't got the tools to deal with an Neferi this fast.
No, they don't. And the Neferi at 6-0 through is continuing to snowball ahead. We've already mentioned the Azir is ahead of the curve. Yes, the Jhin is behind, but he's still kind of fine in terms of raw utility here. Gonna be okay, he's still farming all right. Yes, Taeyun is strong, and if you ever did have a good fight, that would be great news. I just don't know how easy that's going to be to find out.
Cream pushing up bot side. He's a little far up now. I mean, I don't know if Monkey is strong enough to really threaten him, though. I was thinking, oh, well, he's a little far up. There's some HP from the Rylai's. You just ult him away, so you can't really stick him in the W. Dragon now up in a minute. Top esports will, of course, look for that. But the great thing about top esports with a composition like this is we don't really have that situation, which I find really annoying in pro play. It's something that LS has talked about too, which is you just fight on dragon times. These teams don't do that. Top esports especially don't do that. They look for fights around the Neferi, who is almost at 3 items. Like, this champion is just not fair at this point. I'm almost wondering what he's going to go for his 3rd item, actually. Questions about that. Going to contest his topside skill. 2 level advantage, by the way. Doesn't get the smite on that, but was close enough.
Keep our eyes. As Kanavi once again invades. I feel like I should have finished that sentence with keep our eyes. Like, I'm hoping we do. I quite like to keep them. They use it. Good job. Kanavi naps away the red buff and jumps away. 369 over the wall with the decimating smash. There to ensure the safety of their dog champion. Taeyun comes across. Susan out there going, but I was the dog first. Like, not anymore. Neferi has taken over, queen of the dog champs.
Yeah, poor Susan in top lane. That's the plaintive woof. Dragon up now in 10 seconds. Everyone was focusing on top side just before the spawn of this, actually. It was a little irregular, but top esports was being so far ahead of the game. They didn't need to be just permanently stationed on bot side of the map. We have all 10 members pretty much on the same, well, everyone but Azir on the same part of the screen. Is he going to teleport in? Has the option to.
Well, time to push into river and look at the dragon that's coming on. And his Cream is doing just that as well. No war mobs.
No, he's overstayed, and now he won't have time to teleport out. He can push. He's now too close to the wall as well. Need to flash out of this.
They don't actually end up overplaying it. It's actually that's the top esports event. Sends the soldiers forward. Scream looks for an angle. They get hit by the chop. Could keep his verdict. Knocks a couple away. Going to continue throwing out the curtains. Call buying some diamonds. The decimating smash ensures the Vampire is eviscerated. Monkey in danger. The shot's still firing. Cube in danger. Trying to flash, and he's left in the form of a square. No longer 3D as he's pounded flat as a pancake. Triple kill to Kanavi. You can look for a quadra here as Kara's hit by the Dark in dagger.
Oh, the dogs!
Leading out. The dogs keep flying. Who let them out? And Karis goes down.
6,000 damage from Cream, but Kanavi picks up the lion's share of the kills. They'll back off to take the dragon and top esports. They have, again, they have humbled WE in this early game, showing why they did finish as the first seed from Group Ascent. WE, they have had a magnificent run to this point if they do end up here, they would still be, I believe, in the 5th, 6th bracket. That's where they would end up, which I think is an incredible performance for a team, which I didn't expect even to be in Group Ascend. But, you know, this first game, they have been, they have been smacked, humbled. And the sad thing for Vampire, finally gets a hostile takeover into a choke point. Doesn't get that much value, but then immediately the Poppy ult even gets rid of the few people that were going through the ultimate. Jungle support from WE are the heart and soul of this team, and if they fall behind, if they are brutalized like they are in this game, WE don't really get to look like the team we've seen them be.
Taeyun, he's tried this game. That Varus has actually been pretty clutch at points. There's just not enough value. And now Vampire forced to flash again. Down at 10% HP. That was just in a 1v1 with a Scion who may be forced to ult here. But Crips coming. TP now in. Charm lands onto the Scion. But he's pretty damn tanky at this point. Puts the Soul First on. Lands a Decimating Smash. And Vampire left on 10% HP.
Oh,
so he
dear.
shoved
Oh, dear.
as the Emperor divides a few people from their health bars. Vampire put down in the Veil Up. But again, there's just not enough money in the bank. It's 2008 all over again. Everything's crashing. The WE stocks are falling. Garrus misses the Orb of Deception but lands the Charm and will at least get one shutdown back. That's nice. Gets a reset on the ult and maybe some recovery available. Has one more charge to work with. And I think Jackie and Chris say, yeah, maybe not. And I'll instead turn back towards the drag. Baron, I apologize.
Okay, WE are highlighting some teleport wards. Garrus?
Cube's dead, actually. I think is what they're highlighting. Is his body there.
Oh, okay, right. I saw some wards. That doesn't make sense. He was there. That makes a lot more sense, actually. Baron goes down. And top esports, they've had fun with this game. WE, school.
12-0-4 on the Neferi. Reminder, our current Neferi kill leader is the likes of Shadow, hits 17 kills in a singular game. See whether we can get above the... What's the kill record again?
Believe it was 17 on Shadow, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, in the LPL.
Oh, in the LPL, 21 kills in a single game was achieved by Knight last year in summer playoffs on Lucian. We got 21 kills in a single game. By the way, Kanavi has a full Edge of Night now, looking towards the spell shield instead of something like the well, I guess you can't get rolled as a Black Lever, but instead of something else, which you can. I'm going to go towards like their Death Stance, which is a very powerful item right now. So, Vampire caught out. He's had a very rough game on the Renata. His ultimates haven't landed. He's been caught out multiple times. And, you know, I think we're seeing some of the limitations of this guy outside of stuff like the Rel and Leona. We do talk about it when it comes up, because it is very relevant. You know, he's very, very good on the engaged supports. And stuff like this makes it harder for him to show his best sides. And then the whole team is falling apart. They can't play split fights. Their men are played down the front and center with an equalizer and the hostile takeover. And that can't really work. And he's dead again.
Picture. Yeah.
0-4. Yeah, many stakes have been brought to today's first game. This Vampire has been, purged.
Yeah, the Pyre part might be true, as he's been set on fire quite a lot this game. It's not been easy. Charm comes on through. Crisp in danger. Deadly Flourish lands. Kanavi looking for an angle. Throws out some Darkened Daggers. The inhibitor turret falls in short order. TES continue to menace these back ends. 369. Spread that tier 2, and the last inhibitor turret on this bot. There's only one inhibitor turret in the bot lane. Will also go down, and it's like the implication of multiple bot lane inhibitor turrets. Terrifying. Karras looks for a charm, can't find it. A desperation ult at the best of times anyway. Down at half HP. Crisp actually does go down here, but in comes 369. The backline cube goes down as well as the damage from that unstoppable also comes on through to the decimating smash. Karras to get back to the fountain. Does go down though, as the Neferi gets it. The shots from the likes of Jacula pick up another set, and top esports will manhandle and mash WE in game 1.
WE may have beaten JDG, but there are a couple of alumni from the team in 369 and Kanavi who would like to give a last parting remark from their previous organization. Kanavi flashes up the JDG logo as he absolutely... Because, you know, you have triple melee, all of which have limited gap close potential, and they really struggle to get out of a fight. What Gragas does is if you buy into a fight, you don't leave that fight anymore, because Gragas has a way to slow you, to punt you back into the play. So W are now in a situation where they have, you know, the Rise Renekton early game, which is pretty good, and the Trundle as well. I think their early game is slightly better than top esports, but it's not like they don't, top esports are not good in there too.
Yeah.
But I think if it gets through to mid game, and you have Gragas who's really punting around the Trundle and the Renekton and the Alistar out of position.
Yeah.
I think they really struggle to survive longer fights. 369, one of the best Gragas top laners in history. Fantastic player of the champion with a really good draft to punish the anti-melee comp. Right, I'm going to go get myself a cup of coffee, so I'm going to go do that. And we'll leave Sam with the first few.
That's actually true, but we're on to the Rift. Musing about people's location. We'll have to wait until after the chat.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
Well, there you go. The chance 369 on the Arctic Ops Gragas. It is his usual skin. Goes and gets a Grass Proc. Spellbook on the Sejuani as well is often the matchup or the choice here into things like the Trundle, because Aftershock on Sejuani, as I understand it, is really, really awful into Trundle, because if he subjugates you while you've got your Aftershock and your Frost Armor active, the moment they disappear, you go into negative resists. It's kind of silly, actually. You can end up very, very heavily punished by that, if I remember the interaction correctly. So understandably, he's going, yeah, no. He's gone towards Cosmic Insight. Interesting biscuits on Sejuani. I guess wants to have that kind of combat healing, which is an interesting choice. Don't normally see things like biscuits in the jungle. You normally get enough sustain off camps and the like to not need to bother. In fact, a lot of junglers don't even bother buying a pot, just saying, actually, I'd rather save the 50 gold for early items. Hey, Emily, welcome to the chat. Nice to see you in here. Cool to make. Early on, Ezreal going to try and farm out best he can. Jackie, one of our better Ezreals in the league. Pretty much all of our star Ezreals down here play the Striker Ezreal skin. It's a classic in the East, Korea, and, of course, LPL does love the skin. You reckoning 1-to-1, Gabby? I can see it. Punt under turret, nice from Vampire, but then Jackie punishes because there's no cooldowns, misses the Mystic Shot into Taeyin. In comes the heal, looking to threaten a little bit harder. There is no Ignite or anything to trade back, so Jackie and Crisp at the level 2 punish pretty hard, burning the heal for the move speed and better trade options. Cream, caught under the turret here, often does happen early on. Before you hit level 3 on the Yona, your trading options are sometimes a little limited. You do need the full combos. That isn't the case. Monkey, now looking bot side. They're going to put a ward down. Is this going to be the same gank timing? No, Kanavi's found him. Good response. Permafrost comes on through. Monkey now forced to flash. Karras coming on over. Jackie and Chris now looking for an angle. They've got enough engage option to potentially threaten here. Cream with the unbound soul. Flashes for the Q3. Monkey in danger with no flash. And the kill is donated to Jackie Love. Wonderful angle there as they punish the attempted wraparound and invade with deadly force. Now, actually, Karras needs to be a spot wary as they support and jungler around, helping Cream shove out here in the mid lane. We should have an international for all the last place teams. You know, I'd kind of be down. Like, the thing is, it would be, oh, there's a flash play happening as Vampire flashes the pulverize, Chris then flashes over the wall away, Taeyun's gone on in, we'll get body blocked by Kanavi, and now Taeyun's in serious danger as he's flashed as well. Jacking starts turns around. WE, what on earth was that decision making? There goes the additional summoner from Taeyun, and Chris survives. Monkey now trading out here with Cream. Kanavi would love to do his blue buff, but WE really, really, really want this play. Karras with the flash could potentially look at this one. Chris also low. Reset from Taeyun. W! He just blind reads it. What a shot! And that's got to have been off vision, right? We've had a very action-packed early game, Alex. Welcome back. I hope the coffee's good. So, I'm hoping we get a replay of at least one of these things. But if not, here's roughly what happened. Monkey does 3 camps, then looks to invade onto the blue side jungle. But Jackie and Crisp at level 2 burned their heal to get a really aggressive trade bot side.
Which you're meant to do is against the Alistair support early on, yep.
And then, hang on, we'll get the replay now. So this is Crisp afterwards, though, thinking he's off vision. And goes back to reset, and Taeyun just hits him with a W.
Oh, Chris, my dude, you're against a Kai'Sa! Just stand behind the minions! So, First Blood went over to top esports, though. How did that happen?
So, basically, because of the early trade spot, they got a lot of early prio, and then Monkey went to go mess with Kanavi in the jungle. And Kanavi went, no, you don't.
Well, you said there was the good trade from bot lane.
Yes.
I'm guessing that just allowed them to invade and then go back onto
and
Monkey.
And then Cream unbind his soul, flash Qs, and get Monkey on the retreat.
Simple way is, bot lane won, affected the invade, got the kill. That's the easy one. So Kanavi now opened up to get into his own invade, and as we've always said about Kanavi, if he gets ahead in the jungle matchup, this guy's an absolute force unleashed. He's going behind mid lane now, does have that flash, and Karras, he needs to get away without that passive hitting him.
Assault comes on down. There's the Permafrost into the Q3. Karras does get a little bit of speed with the phase rush. Cream will have to rebind his soul shortly, and is swift enough with the flash and the phase rush to get out to safety.
But nothing is blown from top esports. Great trade for Cream. Monkey can't do much here, but he has to come mid just to make sure that Karras doesn't die unceremoniously, basically. Kanavi goes Raptors to Raptors. Very time-efficient gank. in the mid lane too. Just watching Kanavi's pathing is just always so fun because he's so time efficient. He doesn't drop that much farming time when he's making big plays. And in something like the Sejuani versus the Trundle, you're still likely to fall behind because it's a Trundle who's much better at bullying across the map. But Kanavi makes it look like an even matchup when it should be losing.
I will give credit to Monkeys. After that first invade failed, so potential look at a wrapper I can. He respawns and goes right back in and takes the blue buff, and that's how Crisp ended up so low and dying. But they full sent it in the enemy jungle. And we've had a lot of very aggressive plays around that early on. And now Monkey trying to start up this dragon while Kanavi is resetting. Realm Walk coming on in from Karis to help threaten. Crisp is around, doesn't have a spellbook or anything, so no smite on that. We have seen a little bit of our spellbook Rakans and stuff around.
Yes.
Add smites in where we're not expecting it. 369. Ults the wave and cube and gets to walk away. Was afraid of a Dominus angle, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Didn't quite go for the Panunu combo where he punted him into the queue for the trade onto the champ. He just wanted to clear the wave instead, which makes sense. Wanted to make sure that Renekton wasn't getting a good wave state onto him. Later into the game, the Gragas will be much better in the team fights than the Renekton. Jackal Crisp, of course, a little bit ahead in this laning phase, but Tane getting that early kill is a bit of a worry. He's been a very good Kai'Sa.
Hey Alex, we do have there's an engage actually. I can't talk about potential international event thought processes for a second or two as Vampire does get to walk away. So good trade, but can't really follow up. Right, in chat, there was a potential conversation about every last place team in the league having an international competition.
Oh my god, what is it like? I think I Will Dominate called out a thing saying, can we just have fraud stand instead of first stand and just invite like the most disappointing team from each region?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. If we had like, I don't know, if you had DK and JDG, for instance, after they bombed out this split, or Fnatic as well. DK, JDG, Fnatic in terms of how the hell did you end up here?
But it could also be like, I don't know, who really bombed out? Like LNG versus like Bro versus...
or like
versus Rogue.
Rogue with Malrang support with Trick, their coach subbing in his jungle.
I actually think they would be quite good though. I genuinely feel like they'd be that team would be better.
What, Rogue?
Yeah, I feel like they would be better if we had Malrang support and...
Apparently he was spamming it in the next days after that. Yeah. Questions upon questions. I like Mallory. So fun. Mallory is he's an interesting guy. I'm trying to remember what was said. Like, okay, whatever. I won't go down that rabbit hole. There are some funny stories about Mallory. Basically, he's a great guy. I do like him. He's very sweet.
The problem is the last time we joked about rabbit holes was an Aurora in the game, and I never felt more alarmed by my unintentional double entendre.
So
Grubs.
Dragon was taken, Grubs started, Kanavi has level 6, but Monkey does too. This is the point where the Trundle obviously gives a lot of problems over towards the Sejuani.
Vampires! Nearly a nice angle. They still get most of the grubs. The pillar is going to force the flash out of Jackie regardless. In comes the killer instinct. Jackie trying to stay alive as the Guardian proc. His cube flash for the slice. The dice, the W. And Ruthless Predator brings down the Ezreal. They get two. WE full set. The 369 is TP'd and it really does not want to be there.
If you end up dying to that, after a failed flash pulverize where Vampire completely misses his combo, you're really out of position. He might be able to escape. The still has the ultimate. Combo comes through.
We'll try and get a body slam back. Get stunned up there with the Ruthless Predator. He can start to cull the Meek as well. Be able to back away on that one.
Yeah, he's fine at that point. Still have the ultimate if you really need to buy some space. But yeah, Jaculov and Kanavi going up, doing a little bit of Safari League of Legends. And now the good thing is, jungle support from WE, which we were saying need to be in the game, are ahead of the game. One of my big worries about this series is WE. They have found success through their mid jungle.
Here we go.
Smites. Oh, missed it by 1 HP. 1 HP. It was actually Kanavi that missmote that. Monkey did not have smite. It was Kanavi the one which left it at that HP, almost giving over the free 3 grubs over to WE.
Oh, that was wild. Well, either way, Kanavi gets away with the grub. Good work from him, even if it was a little bit dicey.
Questions upon questions. So Kanavi goes back to clearing his jungle. But yeah, we were just saying that, hey, jungle support needs to be in the game from WE. That's where they found their success before it unlocks their kind of snap playstyle. You're right here, you know, Kanavi's walking up, Ezreal's walking up. I just don't think you want to be taking a fight against Trundle or Renekton at level 6. They're so good at this. Vampire completely screws the engage. Like, this is just not... It's way off. Way off, trying to play the mind game. But Jaculov walks up again, gets Trundle pillared. Like, Jackie, you can't walk up like this. You just use your E. You have both summoners. Don't walk up into Trundle pillar range. You already got out free. And of course, you lead Kanavi into dying there too after that point. Big mistake from Jaculov.
Again, Taeyun gets to follow up very gratefully. Monkey's very happy to flash. And again, if you're looking about one of the people who was pioneering Trundle this play, it was Monkey. He's been one of the first to bring it out. It's been one of the better looking junglers on that champion as well. I have been increasingly impressed with this guy. I think where we had Milky Way last year, I think Monkey is trying to do a similar kind of thing, even if he's been... We're going to get Rune present here. We'll have discussions about junglers a little later. It should be fine to walk away, and I'll keep talking about Monkey. Obviously, last year we had Milky Way come up on loan to FBX, had a really good explosive start to the year, was playing loads of creative stuff, Kindreds, all the AP junglers, was all over the place, an absolute wildfire, and it was really cool to watch. And obviously this year has been a bit more problematic for various reasons. I don't think it's entirely on him, even if he's not been playing quite as well. It's been a whole scenario. However, we've now had another from the LDL, because there is always two. Significantly more. The LBL junglers are always a bit psycho. But Monkey, again, is one of those players who was on a team who the team was a bit up and down, and it meant that you weren't like a player like Nayo or whatever who was surrounded by the very best laners, particularly bot lanes in the league, so you were permanently playing with Prime and could fight all the time. Dragon is up. Might have to talk about that as Kanavi's around and about, so we might have to pause this story a second or two.
But we have a one-item Renekton. Top East have been giving up a lot of the early objectives, trying to catch up Karis actually, and they'll flash away from the Glacial Prison.
I mean, the ult is down though, and as a result, Dragon will go the way of W. And Monkey, who I've been waxing lyrical about. The long and short of it, guys, is basically he's had to play in the depths in the jungle with teams that haven't quite worked out, where he's trying to beat carries or tanks or whatever, and actually now coming up to WE, he's got a bit more flexibility, a bit more grit in playing from difficult game states, and a lot of other LDL junglers who come up and have to learn the hard way what it's like to play without priority.
Chris coming down towards bot side. Cube does have that one item. Dominus is a powerful skill at level 6.
Get that much aside from the wave clear though, so...
Well, it stops them from all-inning him because they back off. They see the Dominus come through and they're like, we don't want that fight anymore. And you know what? That's pretty good.
A decent gets away with the minions in mid lane. Does Jackie Love?
Will he? Will he? Question mark?
Got Flash, has got Barrier, gets Flash, Headbutt, Pulverize. Trying to phase one, trying to stay out of the trample. Dodge out of this, but Taeyun can still ult if required, so Jackie will just down, bops the barrier, and dies for it pretty heavily.
Jackie Love blows the barrier. It should have just eat out early, I think. If anything, don't let the plasma get stacked on you. And Jackie Love, once again, much like that last game on the Jhin, getting caught out in mid lane. A poor game from him in terms of overstepping. It's something which, of course, we know can occasionally happen, and Vampire getting a good pick onto him. Of course, really important that he gets active in the game, having a much more successful game than on the Renata, which he's struggled on.
I know Odo and a few of the other LEC analysts were musing on this one, and I think I have to agree at this point. It feels like around the world.
Fighting topside.
Yeah, we'll have to wait on being around the world. As Vampire says, we'll alley-oop you and throw you into a wall. Kanavi going to get healed by the time this one around. On to Karis. Good punish with the Fate Seal. Nice angle, the two-shot barrage from down south. Gets to Valley, but all the while, Taeyun is getting away with a double. They can't finish the kills.
They didn't have their AD carry, they didn't have any damage at the fight, and WE, they are quicker to the play. Top Esports, because Jaculov has been kind of throwing his life into the abyss, can't really take the fights because they don't have the follow-up damage of the Ezreal at the plays.
I was about to finish at the point, but basically, look, so many bot laners are getting caught out faking pressure that they can shove up in mid lane, and people are calling the bluffs. Every time now, we're seeing so many AD carries get melted in mid because they don't actually have the priority they think they do.
Grubs for W make it much easier to take that top lane out of turret. And W very much ahead in this game now. Top Esports schooled WE in game 1, but now it's Top Esports making big, obvious mistakes to allow W into this early game. W 3,000 gold ahead. Now, Top Esports definitely are a team which have come back from large deficits before because their mid and late game macro and team fighting has been so superb. The WE, they're not a team you can just roll over in that facet anymore. They can punish you with leads like this, especially with a champion like Kai'Sa for Taeyun, who's done very well at closing out games from this kind of standpoint.
Feels like a lot of our LPL Kai'Sas, if they do get a lead, become increasingly threatening, and Taeyun certainly has that 1,000 gold up, and that's after Jackie got the first blood. It's kind of been a bit problematic here. Cream now in danger, being jumped on, has got the flash, maybe has to burn it. Does also have the ultimate, isn't quite pillared back. Flashes away from Vampire, looking to turn this one around. Does not have the Unbreakable until just now. Karis is exhausted, trying to turn this one around as Monkey trying to back away, unbinds the soul. Cream can still look for that Permafrost. Will think to rebind the soul shortly. Another Permafrost break doesn't go on to Monkey. Can't quite get that last auto off. Far side alteration will spot out Team coming up. Vampire now in danger. Flash for the quickness. Vampire also in danger. Charmed up by both. Will get the pulverize in to keep Karis alive. But the flash forward gives Jackie reason to keep getting more. That's another one for him.
Taeyun can't get the executions he wants. Does have flash, ult, and cleanse. Would have loved to get a big fight. He's actually hiding in a brush to see if he can use that power spike. As you were saying, trying to find someone around that top side. Not able to do so, though. Top Esports find a good set of kills. They'll get themselves the Herald as well. 369, though, he might walk up into the trap. Cream's coming with him, though.
Cream's behind, can look to make this one happen. Taeyun will find the Academy rank, can't quite get the kill. 369 still has the ult, won't get to pop, but his Chris is about to fall down as well. Cream tries to find an angle. Flash from Taeyun gets him over the Fate Seal. Cream too close, and now he's in danger. Doesn't have the flash, doesn't have the ult. Jackie trying to trade out from the other side of it. The bait works out masterfully for the side of WE.
Top Esports just never see it coming. The smoke and mirrors works out for Team WE just after Top Esports had felt like they had their comeback fight. They disrespect WE, and now suddenly Kanavi's caught out in his own jungle, trying to smite away his red buff. Will get it, but it cost him his flash.
Was at that, and 369 died so fast he didn't even get a chance to press the ultimate. Was looking for a good angle, couldn't do it. He ends up dying even after the flash, and things get dicey here. The comeback is swiftly snuffed out.
That should have been a huge comeback moment for Top Esports. They do get the Herald. That will give them some pressure to play around, but WE likely to get the Dragon and get onto Cloud Soul point after this point. Taeyun, we were talking about his power on the Kai'Sa, plays a really nice little vision trap here. Monkey as well, covering most of the angles. Now, most of the time, you say, oh, there's a lone Renekton pushing up top lane. And I think because it's Team WE, you think it's a mistake. If this was a team like BLG or something like that, maybe you'd be like, maybe they're planning something. I wonder whether Top Esports, just because it's WE, don't respect it as much. Fantastic flash from Taeyun. Fantastic flash. That is just top draw montage stuff. Fight around the dragon.
Yeah, that's going to be the next point of call for sure. Soul point for WE. Cream off on that side. Love to find an angle. Again, he's on his Yone, the champion. I think he is, noted, most iconic on Taeyun right now. Got to be target number one. In comes the True Shot Barrage. The cask is pretty solid. Will break it up. They got Taeyun with the Fate Seal coming across now at the end of it all as well. Down back goes Cream, binding the soul once more. 369 in danger, not that tanky. He'll keep him alive. In comes the Realm Wall, trying to find another angle as Cream, even with that Spirit Cleave, is in danger. Jackie, though, untouched, doing a lot of value. Crisp trying to wait out that grand entrance timer. Jackie in a 1v2 in his room, prisoned, and is swiftly caught by the long arm of Trundle's Law.
Chris dies on the other side, and Cream can't do enough. I don't even think he can wave clear here. Top Esports, again, it's a half of a good fight for them, but they can't clean things up in the right way. This is how badly the fight goes when they catch the Fed AD carry first. Top Esports still lose the play. They still lose the Dragon. The early game disrespect from Top Esports and the early mistakes from Jackulov, meaning that Top Esports have kind of chain died time and time again to the Alistair Trundle forcing plays and allowing these early game kind of like gold leads to be leveraged so much better, have put Top Esports into a very hard to play position. They were, 2,000 gold behind, that became 3,000 gold, and now it's become almost 5,000. Starts off with Vampire actually getting caught out and losing his flash, so it's not even like, the fights are going perfectly for WE. This is not a bad first half of the fight for Top Esports. They're just too far behind. It starts with the Alistair losing the flash, the Kai'Sa getting caught out with great Ezreal W actually coming through there to get some extra damage onto Taeyun after, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, some big mistakes coming through from WE, but you still have Karis on the rise, who's very strong in the early game now. The Yone does not catch out that rise to keep the CC up, and they just don't have the damage.
Not sure they have the tank either. Sejuani has her stats removed. 369 with the damage build he's going towards in some ways just isn't at the point where he's all that tanky right now, and it's getting a little problematic, it has to be said. The gold lead is now 5,000. Soul point is in. Cloud Soul for Rise, for Renekton, for Alistair and Trundle. Hell, Kai'Sa of all champions, giving all of these guys move speed on our press. Oh, good God.
Yeah, it definitely makes it much easier to chase down the fights and stop the disengage coming through. We were saying, look, Top Esports, once it gets through to 2 items and you get through to the point where Gragas can kind of control the front line of the fight and kind of bop these melees around, be very valuable. It's never really become about that. Objective bounties are available for Top Esports, and they'll take one there. Important to get some gold back on the board. Remember, they were 5,000 gold behind, I think, at peak, and of course, most of that is on the top side of the map, actually, Renekton and that jungle. Not actually in that AD carry role. 2 item spike for Jackulov. Maybe he can do a lot of work now, but if he ever gets caught out by any CC, the Kai'Sa will just one-shot him.
Very tricky. I'm looking at the discrepancy between the Trundle and the Sejuani, and I'm wincing. I'm looking at this Renekton frontline as well, who is, at this point with the Sterix and the Black Cleaver, a damage threat as well. You can't ignore the Renekton, but if you're doing that, then who's dealing with Karis? Who's dealing with Taeyu? Who's dealing with Monkey? It's very difficult when at this point you've effectively got a 4-threat comp.
No objectives up right now. Kanavi, well, we'll spot the 400. Okay, so the Atacon is up. That's the one. Kanavi spots out the rest of the team with the help of Jaculov's.
Well, what about
Atacon? Well, those things we shall have to learn about. Jaculov does manage to get a good chunk across Atacon there. This is the kind of point in the game where W might throw things, by the way. 369 is going to teleport back in. It's getting leashed. Remember, they end up getting shredded by the Atacon. Cream caught out in the carries 1v2, though.
Going to find the Fate Seal. Can't quite do it. Good sidestep from Karis. There's a backfly onto Vampire with the Glacial Prison. Doesn't really get all that much value. They're using the Battle Herald. In goes 369, trying to find angle and flashes away. In goes Cube and Taeyu, though! And Jackie trying to stay alive, running away as best he can as Chris does his best to keep his AD carry in one piece. And of course, Cube has none of it. Cube's into little squares for the salads.
Cream walks into both carries and completely messes his combo. Then Jaculov walks into flash range of the Renekton and immediately dies. The carries of Top Esports are having a poor game, and WE, they are more than ready to punish them around the Atacon. This is the kind of fight where Top Esports should have really tried to find that comeback. This is the moment where you get the Atacon doing so much damage and shred to them. You have a chance to fight back against the gold disadvantage, but the carries of Top Esports make it more big mistakes in the fight.
I almost had a really good call there, and I ended up with a salad to end it all. We'll have a look at this again as Cream is spotted out, tries to play it, and Karis just sidesteps the ult.
Well, and what? Taeyu just walks back, because he's trying to catch both of them there. Cream doesn't end up having the E, because I don't know whether he used it just beforehand. The Herald comes through. I don't even think 369 played this badly. The big problem is, Jaculov, you can't walk up into Flash W range. You don't have Cleanse. Jackie, this is the fight you can have your comeback in. You cannot play like this. Walks up into flash range of a Renekton. That's Christmas for them. Immediately gets the stun down. Ezreal dies.
Once upon a time, there was a narrative about Jaculov, about him positioning too aggressively, flashing too aggressively, giving up as many kills as he took. Part of the style of him being a Draven main. And then actually, over the years, we said, look, that narrative is outdated. He's not like that anymore. Last few weeks, end of this split, it's coming back again, some of those old habits.
Minutes Hill Dragon now would be sold for Team WE. 2 items hit for Top Esports, but it's the upgraded boots coming through from WE from the Feats of Strength and a couple of things above that too. A lot of that advantage is in the jungle matchup where Monkey has been against Stella on the Trundle. It's a very good draft to take away that Sejuani's power to be a frontline, and Cube being 6-0-5 after getting dominated on the Rumble in the game just before that will be a feel-good moment. Top Esports will have to clear out that mid-wave. I don't know how you play without no summoners. Without any summoners on that Ezreal. Monkey gonna get a good pillar and cancel out the Sejuani Hugh. That is very bad.
Has no flash either. Has got an ignite courtesy of Spellbook. That's about it. Throws out a Glacial Prison, but it's onto an Alistair who just presses R and cares not. Creed does find an angle in the back. There's really Root Prison. Taeyu in danger. Will go down. Important pickoff. They'll lose 369 as well though. Chris needs to run away to have another battle dance to work with. Jackie looking to get some shots down here to 3v4, and Crisp is bounce housed around and goes down as well. Bird for dinner. Jackie trying to arcane shift away, but to what end? He's stuck under a tower that means absolutely nothing at all. The Root Prison ensures that Monkey gets to jump him on down. Cream headbutted back into the team, flashes over the wall, tries to get some more healing, can't quite bring down the Alistair. A Monkey secures the ace.
WE's jungle support are let into the game by mistakes from Cream and Jaculov across the early game, and the jungle support of WE, the engine roars to life. Top Esports, after such a dominating game one, would have hoped this would be a quick day at the office, but WE wanting to showcase their improvement, their underdog story, their way to climb above what we expected of them. And Top Esports, despite coming in as top seed from Group Ascend, are being shown to be mortal by Team WE.
Top seed, LPL champions in winter, potentially in danger of dropping both series they played in playoffs. What a horrifying thought that'd be. Weibo Gaming, who knocked them down into the lower bracket, and now WE looking and going, yeah, I think we could have that. In the second game, it's a much better showing than game one, where Top Esports looked dominant indeed. It looks like an entire reversal of fortunes. I mean, it's not the blue side curse all over again. I don't need that in my brain, but either way, 8,000 gold lead, Cloud Soul, Feats of Strength, Baron is spawning in 5 odd seconds. They've got Atacon as well. There's very little that WE could ask for more in this game.
I don't know, a latte.
I bought you one this morning.
No,
None of this side.
Well, that's not WE. Salmon Cream put on the top side. Once again going in. But again, Monkey and Vampire are too tanky for them to deal with.
Cream finding us emotional, but ults away. Oh god, Kurinavi will also get subjugated. And the Queen of the North, one of the prospective ones anyway, meets the Trundle King instead. As in they come with the Realm Warp. And Karis gets a double at the end of it, a triple. I apologize, I wasn't familiar with your game, as he spell fluxes and brings down another couple.
Very clean snowball from Team WE. I really enjoyed watching them play around the Trundle Alistair front line, which is far outclassed Top Esports on the other side. And it'll be a very quick victory to them. FPX took a 27-minute victory versus Top Esports in their first round matchup. Team WE take a 26-minute victory instead.
How far can they go? They get themselves Pantheon to have slightly faster mobility around the map relative to Top Esports, but you're right, that Talia does mean that I think as long as Cream is paying attention, he has been a good Talia this year, could really threaten and make this problematic.
Yeah. Vampire, banking on the fact that he's a good Leona, rather than picking something that's better for the draft like the Bard,
that's
saying,
fair.
okay, quadruple melee will make it work. You have locked quad melee into some of the best anti-melee champions of the game. Aatrox into melee, loves it. Shinzo into melee, loves it. Talia into melee, loves it. The Tristana and the Braum love that too, because you have to dive into the Buster Shot and stuff like that. Tristana, so you lock in the Smolder because it is follow-up with the ultimate over the top of the team fight. So if you land a Leona ult on someone, Pantheon, Smolder, Ambassador all jump into their same target. But what happens if it's a Shinzo that presses up? What happens?
欢迎来到英雄联盟。敌军还有30秒到达战场。
Good to see the crowd chat leaders having some fun with that. Okay, there we go. Hopefully the game sound volume is at a decent level now. We've been messing around with that a little bit in the background. W is betting this game on hands. A little bit, yeah. If WE get a good combo, you can take someone off the board very, very quickly. My worry is, if 369 gets gold, you don't kill the Aatrox very well. As soon as Aatrox gets to Sundered Sky, Sterak's, and then Boots, I guess, I don't see how you kill this guy. He will pop ult, he'll heal 1,000,000 HP off of you, and I don't think you kill him after that point. Keeps gonna get the level 1 trade decently well here, uses the Q. Long cooldowns at level 1, but 369 can't get in range. The Q animation a little slow at the first rank. Well, not that it changes, but a little slow when you don't have the E.
We need to keep our eyes on. I just left to get tea, so I have no idea what you said. I'm assuming it was valuable.
Yeah, saying that my worry is that if 369 gets gold, how do you kill him? Because he's just going to heal 1,000,000 HP off of Sundered Sky. So when you get Sundered Sky in the passive healing of someone with the ultimate running, the healing increase, you just don't kill him. He's so hard.
Fair enough. I can see that being a little problematic here for sure. Maybe with enough CC you can stop him pressing Q. I guess you've got a fair amount to work with, and Smolder, if he does get to flap away, can sort of potentially punish the also similarly relatively short-range comp of Top Esports by just flapping and playing from miles away and executing people.
First game for Smolder, for Taein on Smolder. See whether he can pilot it well. His champion pool, his effective champions have been very, very good in this top end, but his second string of champions have not always been as valuable. So this is where the Smolder falls into which category it falls into. But yeah, in terms of like the CC thing onto Aatrox, eventually, he's going to get to the point where he gets Sterak's, which gives him that tenacity.
Yeah.
And, typically knockups and stuff like that are what you really want at that point, stuff like the Nautilus stuff, which tenacity doesn't help you against it. But against Pantheon, against Silas E versus the Leona, much easier to see tenacity your way out of it. Kanavi going for an early invade, does have both top side lanes pushing. Ward over the wall. We'll see that he sees the Krugs haven't been started, so he knows that Monkey is instead hanging around the corner. Will now play for the Krugs because he doesn't want to play the vision game against Monkey.
No, he does not. He'll try and play for a smite fight here, but if he smites for this, won't be able to get over onto the red buff. But now the Monkey has burned his smite, gets the opportunity to step on forwards, gets a decent chunk. It becomes Braum as well, who is left bot lane early to threaten here on the red buff.
This is a really good early plan. And again, if Kanavi gets ahead of the game, it is hell. Monkey doesn't have smite. Now he's going to jump forwards, and the red buff is going on to him. Karis is around. He can flash forward for an E-confirm.
Again, as you said, Kanavi has the red buff. Monkey does not. No smite yet for Monkey is there for Kanavi, so it should just be a relatively easy secure with the additional pressure for the summoner spell.
So Kanavi will claim that red buff. Really good early plan from top esports. Jungle advantage, I think, has been one of the biggest tales of these this first 2 now going on 3 games. Jackalov left to, you know, fend for himself on bot side, but that's the problem with the Smolder. You can't punish someone left alone there now, and now suddenly they might... I don't know whether you dive it. Well, maybe they do with the Braum, but I guess they choose not to. Just looking at the option, don't commit to it.
Chris clears out that ward. Early cull in from the Tristana, looking to get as much advantage out of this early game as possible. Again, Tristana scaling is good. Notoriously was one of the original hyper carries really in the game, with things like the draw a B, the mixed scaling. You could go AP mid lane, you could still do the AD, all of these things. But you are still into a Smolder who, in many ways, is one of, if not the hardest scaling champion in the game. It's pretty ridiculous at points.
But his early game can't punish him.
No.
And this is the thing. Chris gets to walk away because the Smolder was picked. If that was a Sivir, if it was, you know, obviously something more lane dominant like a Varus or Jhin, if they were available in this series, you can't really leave the Tristana though. You'd lose a bunch of XP, you'd lose a bunch of levels, and you have to be forced off the turret, especially against the Leona, which can dive. I love the Anima Squad Primordial Aatrox, by the way. The animations are so slick. Also, I think it's a little unfair of a skin.
Really?
You watch the Q animations.
Okay.
Now, Dark Souls and From Software enjoyers, you tell me, how annoying is it when you see something like Sekiro, when they wind up for the big attack, and then they slow down, and then the thing comes through? I watch an Aatrox Q animation. Watch this. I watch the Aatrox Q animation. Next time you cast it, it does not. The speed of it does not happen in the way which I like it to. So it happen. The Q impact happens at a slightly different timing than I particularly expect.
Not quite my tempo.
Not quite my tempo indeed. And the whiplash from that effect can be really annoying to play against.
Do you want a fun fact about that, by the
Sure.
way? No one's actually redeemed a fun fact, but I will do this anyway. That during that scene, where obviously in Whiplash there's this moment where the guy's saying, "You didn't fight my tempo." Ironically, he's on tempo the entire time. It's only till right at the end where he starts getting it wrong.
I believe
the guy's
that's
just messing with him.
So from what I heard, it was when he says that he's rushing, he's dragging. When he says that he's dragging, he's rushing, just to really mess with him, which is, you know, things. The Fix 9 has level 6. Cube does as well. Only a half HP. This is a threatening angle here. Actually, Cube has a slight. Okay, it's not enough to freeze. This will slow push back. He doesn't have the minion advantage. 3C9 can safely collect this. Kanavi will start up dragging on the bot side.
There we go. And then there was Stroska did redeem a fun fact as well, and maybe Katari did earlier as well. We just missed it. I feel bad about that. So there we go. Either way, we've got a fun fact down. We may need another one at some point. Either way, a little bit of a trade there, but not too much happening. It's allowed us to do some musing on things that are not League of Legends related.
Yeah. Gabby and Chasm W can win this. Yes, they can. They can. Early game would have to be where they'd like to get that advantage. Are they going to be told? 3C9 just teleport up towards top side. Might be dragging an out for Thor 3C.
Whoa! It's X-Marks the spot. There's walls everywhere. It kind of prevents Karras from getting in the angle he necessarily wants, but still gets a big kill at the back end of it as the Braum goes down into the back end with a better side burst, doing so much damage onto Jackie, who gets over the wall. He might just survive, but they need to leave Cream out to dry. So he went looking to see whether someone was inelegant in their back spots, but WE don't get the dragon, but do get 2 kills.
Yeah, good early fight for them. Using that CC, I would have thought that Braum with the heal and the flash available would get more done, but Crisp dies before using either of them. I wonder if there was a mistake made by Crisp individually there. Top esports do walk away with the dragon. They do walk away with 1 kill, but W get 2 kills on the other side, and one of them is onto the Smolder, which will get them closer towards their first line, which looks to be the Essence Reaver.
At the very least, Jackie does get one of those kills, but we're about to watch the X-Men assemble.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the Talia which gets the bonus on this. This gets the knock up on it. Then what happens here with Chris? Blocks off some shields here, then just doesn't cast his heal. I believe it was that sometimes the things at the bottom of your screen, they don't work. Oh, no, he's spellbook, so he had a different summoner in. Okay, so he didn't have that heal. Tried to use 1, didn't have the heal available, means that he's not able to save himself afterwards. Must have used the igniting resource or something like that. Didn't see what he had before the fight.
He had... Oh no, I was going to try and think of something funny, and I realised I wasn't, so we had to leave that.
He had like clarity or something like that.
Yeah, clarity. Yeah. Is that still available in
Summoner's Rift? No, not on Summoner's Rift, only on...
only on ARAM, yeah.
Oh no, I think it is on Spellbook actually. I think it
is it on Spellbook?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's... Some random spells were available there. Pantheon coming in, where's that going? There's no flash in mid lane. Crisp is here though.
Crisp is here. Seismic Shovel Wave prevents the abduction from landing, but I still think that's a very dead Cream who just can't get far enough away. The heal was used there, and it just wasn't enough Crisp was on the right timer, but couldn't keep them alive.
Yeah, Cream, the one to misstep in mid lane this time. Cream and Jacula having quite poor series between the two of them. There is a smite from Kanavi ult coming through. Level 6 from 369 makes this a little dangerous, though.
The flash and the ult out, they can turn back away, happy enough with the additional trades. All the while that was happening in mid lane, Top Esports were trying to do grubs, and I think Cream thought with Crisp roaming up, should be safe enough, and just wasn't quite, despite a good seismic shot.
I mean, so this is where, again, I see that logic, but then my response is, you think it's safe. You should know better as a pro player. You should know better. You are amongst some of the very best players in the world. You are a flashless Talia against a global which can come into your lane with plenty of follow. You cannot give these openings. That is how you lose games like this. As a player, as a champion, a reigning champion of the LPL, that is not good enough. Scream still has no flash. At least there's no... I mean, Monkey has flash. You have no flash, Cream!
And no vision. He just goes down.
And so, again, some people might say, but surely you just think you're safe. You are not safe, and you have to know better than that. Cream and Jackie Love, over the last couple of games, this time it is really just Cream, not calling out Jackie Love for this game, but Cream, no flash in the mid lane. I know the wave was in a bad spot, but you can't give up 3 kills like that.
Get the first kill was perhaps a bit more reasonable, was Crisp around. That one was pretty unacceptable.
And again, even with Crisp on that last one, he could only shield one direction. I don't even think that was reasonable either, because there's so many people that can roam into your lane. Braum, only at the early levels in the game, can't save you in the way that you want. Again, it's that kind of like false positive of, oh, there's someone on my screen, surely I'll be fine. But it just wasn't. And Top Esports, we have to hold them to account like this, because this is our reigning champion. This is a team that got blasted at first down, and we wanted to see them improve. Simple mistakes like this against a team like W, who, yes, have improved, but are not what we'd consider a top team in the LPL. This is very disappointing stuff from Top Esports, and we get worried about them.
Alex, I have Phase Rush and Heal and Unbreakable on Braum, who's giving me loads of resist. I can run away and be safe, right? Right?
And that's
right?
That's why he's 0-3 and 700 gold down. Again, there is only so much devil's advocating you do before you have to say, right,
That wasn't good enough, yeah.
That's not good enough. We expect more from you, especially Cream, who, you know, fought his way through so many legendary mid laners to make his first finals, his first title rather, in the last split. We expect more from him. WE, though, on the other side, real credit to them. A comfort jungle support pairing at the Pantheon, Leona setting up play as well. Force on the other side of us, not just ragging on Top Esports, it's WE punishing mistakes very well, and particularly Monkey on the Pantheon, who's such an engine room.
Yeah. He has been a really scary jungler from ahead, and when he does get rolling, the team follows suit. Him and Shadow, the two junglers that dragged their teams through Group Ascend, basically were the catalyst for changing these squads that led to them becoming a lot more dangerous.
See right here again, Cream was really up, couldn't reach the backline minions on that wave because he was afraid that Monkey was going to ult into wave. Now he's played wise, but problem is now, if you wise up 1,000 gold down, you don't get to play the game in the same way because you're still 1,000 gold down. Your outplay, the opportunity is not there. And Top Esports now, you need to be getting mid lane vision for Cream. At this point, your mid laner is not a champion, not at this point. Dragon's up in 10 seconds. If you want to fight for this, you must secure some vision across the rift. You have no vision in your bot side jungle. You're meant to have a Tristana that's getting ahead of the game. It's not the case. You're meant to have a mid laner that can push and roam. That's not the case. Kanavi late on the reset. They won't be able to.
Unlikely. I was just about to call it out before Vampire moved the wall, but they had control wards on both sides of the lane. They had wards deep in the jungle. Cream could see nothing. There was nothing to be done there. He had nowhere to roam. Vampire will face check the Shins out, teleporting in on this one. In comes the Weavers. Well, maybe Vampire is a bit deep. Wonderful crescent guard. Now the back end of the player script has come on in, trying to find an angle. Good knockup. 369 on the back end of the Dark and Blaze flying. Carries stolen crescent guard. Stays alive. Misses the abduction. Jackie looking to get some value damage to 1-for-1 right now, if I've done my maths correctly. In the public execution of the stall. And Silas waiting. Kanavi's not going to crescent guard anymore, and Karras gets another. 369 in danger. Cube begins to Drake. Can't step forward. Had the repudiation running. Where the hell does Aatrox begin to run?
Well, 369 is going to die here as well, most likely. Just to use his Q, will make it out alive. WE pulling the trigger so effectively, but Top Esports, they have not done they've not done their setup on vision. All of this vision you were highlighting and we were highlighting in the bot side jungle has just blasted Top Esports in this fight because they didn't have the information to take a fight like that. The initial pick onto Vampire, it's a Leona with Tabby, with Aftershock, with Flash. You're not cleanly killing that. I think Top Esports were lucky to not have Karras just murder them at the intro into that fight. And WE now have a 2,000 gold lead. Once again, Top Esports taking poor fights.
Yo, Al, remember when we were talking about, I'm not sure about WE's composition into top esports, it's gonna get quite tricky. Oh, top esports back on blue again. I'm not sure about it, it's gonna get quite tricky. Oh, game 1, I mean, they were so good in that one, surely won't happen like game 2 all over again. It is.
But the thing for me is, like, a lot of what WE are doing, you know, this quick pick engage. Top esports don't have to buy into this. They could wait until they have, you know, an item this point in the game again. And if they were fighting now on even gold, if your opponent Cream doesn't have flash, once again caught out by the vision game, WE pulling the trigger so effectively. Wonderful play there from Vampire, setting up vision and getting multiple kills onto Cream, who's now 1 and 4. Cream's had an awful day.
The Scout had an awful day the other day. At this point, you begin to say, is it WE just mashing mid laners as well?
Initially, really good ult from Kanavi. Chris teleports into the play, but he actually teleports in too early because he can't be the one tanking this. He goes down very, very easily, and Jakulev used the bust shot onto Cube, loses a lot of his HP, and then walks into an unwarded part of the forest. Great ultimate coming through from Cube, but also, why is Jakulev the one facing? If you are the person doing the damage after this with your second buster shot, or not buster shot, your second explosive charge, you can win this fight. Jakulev, a misplay from him, not playing well around vision, walking into a brush, which you knew that Karis could be in because he just killed Crisp over there.
Keep your dreams, says the WE fan, and you can't blame them. Hold on to them tightly, WE. Might take you a long way up this playoffs.
1,000 gold down in jungle, almost 2,000 gold down in mid lane. WE, what a game they've been playing. They've been pulling that trigger well. Later into the game, the composition really struggles into the anti-melee for top esports. But top esports, they've just been blindly walking into these fights, assuming they can hand stiff. And they haven't been able to. WE have been hand stiffing top esports here. 404, Karis, a player who was a reject from LCK, playing so well against JDG and now against top esports as well. What a rise up towards the upper echelons Karis has had for a player which we had no real hope for. Top esports now starting up the Herald. A lot of flashes down for Team WE, so maybe they won't be able to contest this top side in the way that they'd like.
Might just play the first turret instead and say that'll be fine. They've got 2 grubs. The Ambassador with the Eclipse should tear through that turret. That'll be beating strength as well. They're happy enough with that, looking to potentially set up another lane gank here that Cream has just not been able to respond to it. It does feel like Cream has been left to the wolves in terms of the vision, but has fallen prey to them as well.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Like, yes, at a certain point it's, you don't have the setup or it's an unplayable scenario, but there are some earlier into the game especially where it's like, you should know better. Kanavi will take his own blue buff, put it into the Fog of War, then Monkey and Vampire patched at the hip, and luckily Kanavi is on the top side here to farm under turret effectively. But imagine you'd done this from even gold, not from 2,000 gold down now. It would be a very different game. Often in League of Legends, the problem is, once you've made the mistake, yes, you'll be like, I won't make that decision again. But unlike football or basketball or whatever, you actually get less powerful, and the enemy gets more powerful the more mistakes you get. Is the difference between traditional sports and esports, right? You the gold advantage in something like this, that sticks once you make a mistake. You're continually punished for continual mistakes.
369. Trying to play with Cube here. Not that easy right now. 369. He's tried. He's had moments in this game. Was actually doing quite well in the lane, and now he's kind of looking at this going, hang on, what happened? Why am I suddenly behind the game? Where's this Ambassador gotten an assist from?
Like, are we really in a world where WE knock out not just JDG but top esports? Are we really in a world like that?
How do they do it as well? Because I think... Yes, I think...
There's an ultimate coming in from Monkey. We'll have to talk about that. Level 11 hit, but the recalls come through. And
nice idea.
369 got back in time. I mean, if you'd Monkey has typically been very good at catching up people like that. However, good victory there now from Top Esports to buy that global. It does mean it's a lot safer to now farm up. Dragon now spawning. Top Esports took the first one. They don't have to take this dragon fight now. In fact, I partly suggest they don't, but I guess you're worried about the Smolder on the other side. You want to take fights before he hits 225 stacks. They are going to walk over towards this dragon. Maybe just try and take a fight while the Pantheon ult is down.
Double some Sky Spikes as well. I can see the thought process here.
Herald into the mid lane.
Using that to buy some pressure. The ward's now down. Karis on a good flank angle, but is off vision for now. Attacks that ward and will now be spotted. Person Taeyun comes through the lesser spotted Cream. Sounds awful. I never want to eat that Cream. All while I'm in picture. Cube wants to take that turret, and they will be able to do so. Mid lane turret will be traded. And it's a win for top esports.
It is. They'll lose the top lane out of turrets. It's 1-for-1. Dragon now potentially started. Flash is back up for WE, importantly. Yes, they are there for top esports as well. First item hit for top esports. No Seraphs for Cream, which makes it a lot safer for him to play out these fights. WE, they'll need to engage down the front and center, teleport in from Cube somewhere. Where's it going into?
Karis on the flank, looking for an angle, Vampire on the backside, also Kanavi makes it a threat. Dragon secured by Monkey. In they go to the back end with a perfect execution, make that a public one. I keep getting those two confused, but the fight is anything but that. As 369 does get the reset. Important kill onto Karis. He's beginning to heal his way on the anti-melee. What we said about the Aatrox. He's got the triple. He'll make it a full quadra before the Tristana picks up one or two more.
It says so much about the compositions that the early game from WE is completely nullified by the anti-melee composition from Top Esports. You can be ahead 3,000 gold. 369 fires back with 3 kills and showcases exactly why we were worried for the triple melee topside, the quad melee composition into the Aatrox and what it means for the team fight. Yes, they get the dragon, but Aatrox at the 1 to 2 item spike is unkillable, gets a million healing, and just gets to cycle through Q after Q after Q. This is the worry. This is the worry about the anti-melee, and 369 delivers on the promise, and it couldn't have come much later than this. They lose this fight. I think this game is actually over. Get a huge amount of gold back, and now they're back in the game.
Fine. Do it myself. Avengers Movie 1 has ended. WE assembled well enough, and unfortunately for them, Aatrox gets to snap his fingers.
This is now terrifying for WE. The strongest part, because you know you were talking about saying, oh, maybe you can just CC the Aatrox. Double tenacity items. Merc Treads, Sterax, going to go up to about, halving that CC thereabouts. You don't get to shut down the Aatrox cleanly now. The Leona not going to be able to deal with them. The Panther not in a 5,000 damage team fight from 369. That is a promise of what is to come later as well. WE, they have a quad melee comp plus a small to try and stop this Aatrox. If 369 manages to play through this 2-item spike in the way that he should do with this composition, Top Esports back on the board.
Very much so. Again, Karis, for the first time that game, dies. Gets a Rift Maker now to try and manage some of the healing. Interesting choice. I don't hate it, actually, here. Let's see whether we can play that one out. Second item now done for Cube as well, which is good news, because, again, this Aatrox is now a significant amount of gold ahead.
News. We can finally be bees. This is good news.
Don't know this
isn't
brain
your
rot.
world. We can be bees.
I don't
can
know.
live like a bee.
What is
you
this
will
brain
live
rot?
like 30
Alex,
years. This
what
is
insane.
insane.
What is the TikTok? What are the TikTok is this?
It's Omni-Man talking to Invincible about finally. This is good news. Finally, be bees.
I don't. I'm not sure I want that, Alex. I quite like being a human.
Sorry, it's just I've seen it proper way too many times. That's got now available. 369. Very, very happy with this 2-item spike. We were saying WE. They might be able to fight around they need to find a way to stop down they need to stop this Aatrox. This is a problem.
So comes on through. The Infernal Chance don't quite land. Actually, 369. Oh my god. Passive healing with Sunken Sky is actually ridiculous. TT behind Karis looking for a steal or something valuable. Hijacks the Brawler. Glacial Fisher comes on down. They blow up the Tristana. Big moment. They've got the bot lane in its entirety. Karis still healing on everyone with the Rough Maker on the 369. Doing a lot of work. Who doesn't have the World Ender? Kanavi in the back end of it all can't get more than just the one. I was immediately going to say he wouldn't get anyone, but Cube also gets an additional member and 4 members down aside from 369. They can turn to Atakan.
369, huge mistake. Pops his ultimate too early and doesn't get value out of it. WE back onto the objective board. They'll get the Atakan after 369. The golden champion in this game to carry it for Top Esports makes the mistake.
The TP's top, looks to try and get towards that turret at the very least. They have gotten most of the outer turrets, and that would do wonders to keep them within touching distance of this game. They're now back down to about 1,500 gold. Have a look at this replay, because 369 understandably is the one to face.
So he walks forwards, but then at this point here, he pops the ultimate way too early, misses his Q, because I think he thinks Cube is going to ult at that point. And the entire Aatrox ultimate goes down, which means his healing is reduced a significant amount. The second tier of the ultimate gives you so much. But his ultimate runs out here. If he'd popped it a little later, he would have been able to get through so much extra healing to potentially walk away with the fight win. Instead of Karis on the flank, who does end up determining things, and Top Esports will fly into a fight, which they can't win.
Cream just doesn't have the damage right now. He's only got an item and a half, poor guy. Has gone towards the Oblivion Orb as well. Understandable into the comp you're into. Everyone pretty much will be bringing a certain amount of healing between Silas, Pantheon, and Bessa.
Karis, the LCK reject, sending Cream, current LPL mid lane champion, to 1-6 in this game. What a turnaround that has been on expectations. Yes, I know Cream has had some international worries. I'm thinking, well, he's not the level of Knight. Maybe he's not even the level of someone like Shanks, someone who's been a contemporary of his. Dragon now spawning in 10 seconds. Top Esports maybe looking for another fight. Aatrox Aatrox with ultimate again. See if you have a better fight this time. Again, really wasted ultimate. Last time Vampire does have flash, forced to use it.
The wall comes on down. So people up. Can't really turn it into anything though, and the pick was a little awry. Ultimate down there, flash down as well.
Na'Vi flashing forwards, forcing the flash out of Karis. That's important there. Silas flash probably more important than Xingdao's here, given the amount of damage Karis is bringing onto the backline.
Fight the top esports won, left with Karis being dead at the beginning or in the middle of that fight. 369 himself ult up and available.
Yeah, vision control good for WE. Blue Trinket will spot them out. Flash up for 369, flash down for Karis. The most powerful members of each other's teams. Slightly different resources available. Vampire walk up. He doesn't have flash, and they're walking Jackal. Here comes the... Whoa, they're way too early.
Vampire is eviscerated. Jackie gets to stand and deliver. He had the flash. He's still got the rocket jump. They're doing so much work. Cube doing his best to try and get something back at the end of it all. Karis does land a decent abduct there. Taeyun's still alive, trying to find some value. The stopwatch comes on through. Taeyun can't flash far enough away. And 369, the flash you called out, brings him on top of the little dragon's head.
The engage from Monkey and Vampire is just not it. There's no follow-up in range, and top esports collapsed quicker. That was a fight which WE, again, could have really used to get ahead in this game and force themselves onto Soul Point. They failed such a clutch engage. Vampire and Monkey disconnected rarely for once with their team.
369 was on my shortlist for MVP this split. Can you see why, guys?
Cube caught out initially at the start of this too, and I think by 369 going heavily onto him, they think, oh, we can walk up because, you know, the Aatrox is very far away, but, you know, Karis is way far out. The ultimate goes completely wide. This is a poor engage by Vampire. I understand looking for the angle, but the execution just not there. Jackula is not able to find things. I will say that Karis, insane damage coming through again. This Silas is doing so much work. If he had flash, though, he'd probably kill Jackula here. Losing that flash early on, cooldown economy. You want the important summoners down. Karis did end up getting the kill onto Jackula at the end, but it's a one fight for top esports.
Of course, his Silas can still win the game for you. He's building towards the Zhonyas as fast as he can. And I think that is going to be quite valuable here to buy your way towards some additional cooldowns. Cube trading up with 369. I don't know how easy that's going to be right now, because 369 is a menace. Forces the flash because the Q3 was coming on through.
And he has Death Stance there too. Yeah, Death Stance, by the way, folks, if Death Stance, statistically one of the best items in the game right now. Pretty much every champion that should build Eclipse should be building Death Stance instead. It is an insane amount of stats on one of the best passives in the game. Now there is absolutely no way you blow up this guy in the start of a team fight. Ton of tenacity, ton of ability to play through the Steric Shield and the Death Stance passive as well, the Death Defy. And of course, you get the kill. You reduce that bleed stops, and you start to heal after that point too. 369. This Aatrox is absolute Exodia at this point. It is very hard to deal with this guy.
He is a menace, to say the least. Dragon, 3 minutes away. 2 apiece at the minute. Top esports, it's not been a clean game. It's been a game where in some ways they probably should have lost already in some ways. However, the heroics of people like 369 and to an extent Kanavi have kept them in the race. Now this Aatrox at 3 items is pretty much, as you said, Exodia. What on earth do you do to bring him down? I guess you pray that he has his ult time out before he murders too many people.
Baron up and available. 3 dragons apiece. Really worried for W and how they're going to deal with 369. That being said, you know, 369, he did misplay that one fight, misplays it again. Definitely winnable for WE. They do have, you know, the stacked Smolder. 2 items, doesn't have the fire cannon. Baron now started. WE, fight may be forced. Monkey has an ult, has a flash. 369 is not here. He's teleporting in now. WE will have to find a way through it, potentially looking for the Baron steal.
I'll find that attempt won't quite do it. Braum secures it. Right there from top esports, backing away 2 minutes.
Maybe finding a mid lane, opening towards the mid lane. Turret going to go towards, but have they overextended now?
His wall comes on down. Goes to make shove onto Cube. He's got a decent amount of shield because Vision comes on through. That's very deep from Vampire. Overcome Braum! And it won't matter a damn bit as the Leona is dead to rights. Monkey trying to do some work back in the can't just do it. It's just too much CC at this point. Tristana resets again. Taeyun goes down. And they manage to get a full-on set of kills over towards Draculov and 369. A full house for the AD carry in top lane.
WE lose the Baron, can't find the fight afterwards, and Top Esports, despite a rocky early game, which they misjudged so many fights, despite Cream really struggling to find his place in the early game, the composition comes alive, and WE cannot play 4 melees versus this comp.
That's some huge value. The inhibitor will go down. 1 minute until Ocean Dragon. And they'll back away with that kind of in hand. Realistically, 3 items now done for Tristana. They feel themselves.
That should really be the end of the game now, with the Baron buff coming in, with so many fights lost back to back, with so much farming time lost from WE too, because they've been dying on cooldown now for the last while. They've lost too much gold. Almost 4,000 gold down in top lane matchup. AD carry going so much better for Jackie now at this point. He's had a good game, actually, in the later game team fights, despite Karis really angling for Jackie. Not been able to do so good. Look how hard it is to play the melee comp. You know, you walk up and there's a Brawl Mult keeping you in, slowing down your follow-up members. There's Talia ease. How do you play front to back against so many anti-melee champions? You just can't. 369 gets resetting, has a ton of gold, and they can't stop the Aatrox after the initial CC is gone.
Oh. At the very least, the Smolder picks up a couple at the end there. Taeyun has got the execute on through, so is pretty damn scary at this point. 5, 3, and 7 has got over 300 stacks. I mean, there's a world where Taeyun can carry, but that's kind of it. The jungle we go. Top Esports. Not that messed up. Dragon. Now. Fall down, not really any contest available, and understandable, it's only soul point, I suppose, so WE, that's a minor silver lining. I call it a tin one, really. It looks a vaguely silver colour, but it's not quite as valuable.
Walking into the bot side jungle, WE very much on the retreat now. Wave's not completely pushed out, of course, with the Baron buff ending now. It's not like Top Esports will have that much left to do, and they broke the base in the mid lane, but it's not the side lane inhibitors, it's not like the full base broken open. Karis stealing the Brawl Mult, decent disruption on that, but it's not the Shinzo ult for survivability.
Knocked up is pressed by his hijacked glacial feature. How rude. Jackie gets burned a little bit there. Has got the GA, which can mitigate the smoldering exhaust. Execute, that's what I'm looking for. In pretty short order.
WE, I guess they're just waiting for mistakes. If anything, they're waiting for mistakes. Teleporting towards the bot side. Jackie with the GA. That makes Karis' life very difficult. Because he's just trying to take out Jackalope. Now you have to take him out twice. The time bought by the GA means that it's likely that someone else can apply Brawn passive, get the stun onto him, Jackalope jump away. You can try to look for it. It's hard to make this work. Cream not in range of ult just yet.
No, if you're going to try and find an angle, they go with the public execution, trying to find some value. Vampire goes down. I don't blame them looking, but it's just not enough. Monkey's dead as well. And everyone else is just about untouched. Jackie in danger from Cube, is backing away as the GA will likely be popped. 369 looking at Taeyun and finds that massive empowered auto. Back out of GA they go. Jackie gets the buster shot away, and Cube is once again left as a square.
And everyone gets that chance for a multi-kill. A triple to 369, a triple to Jackalope, and a quadra to Kanavi on the Shinzao to end things out. WE, a valiant attempt in the early game. By far the better team when it came to the early picks. For Top Esports, we'll bring it to 2-1.
It was looking pretty dire there at points. Cream found himself getting mashed in lane. This Silas was off to the races. It was looking in some ways over, and then 369 has some terrifying fights. The caliber of Top Esports players begins to show on through. Work there.
Yeah. You could have also just said it was banned if you'd said it.
I actually advanced it.
Good job. You saved both of us then.
I was preoccupied in thinking Tom Kench mechanics.
Yeah. So, this is a very kind of... This composition in Team W has been around for yonks at this point. This is more like a 2022, 2021 draft, I'd say, without the Corki, I guess. That was more of a mid lane pick. At that point, it's been a while since he... Yeah, but still, that kind of Jarvan or Northwest heavy over-engage, Top Esports only have one Devour. If you get a good enough engage, you can't save everyone. The Senna ultimate can add some tankiness. Top Esports, I think last game had a very good composition. This time, I think it's much harder to play. I don't think they have that same kind of like crushing your 4 melees into a Talia.
Power picks for these players.
So, game 4, I think it's a harder draft for Top Esports. Let's hear the Gyos.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
Alex has gone to look up the numbers for us. I was underestimating Jackie Love. 78.7% win rate on Senna over the years.
Yeah, 37 games of it. It's not like he hasn't played it either. He hasn't played it this year, though. Very good on it last year. A lot of people kind of like pigeonhole Jackie Love into, oh, he's just the over-aggressive support guy. He's the Draven. He's the Kai'Sa. He'll dive in. He's always been good at stuff like these utility stuff, too. He's been a very good Ashe, a very good Senna. 369 going to walk up and loses bone plating to the standard, which is a bit annoying, but we'll spot out the early jungle start from Monkey, potentially. If any sort of information you can give to Kanavi, very important. He'll start on his Raptors because it's a Lilia. 369 happily dodging out on that thingy. Is 369 going to start with the Hypercharger or the Shock Blast? You can actually do both. Starts with the Hypercharger and actually does get the ward down. That's what I was wondering for, actually.
Does get that. Actually kind of nice. That helps get control of the bushes, which can sometimes be a real menace. Na'Vi with very defensive passing here, kind of wanting to make sure he shields that bot side as Monkey was potentially looking for the level 2 invade.
Well, it's just your regular pathing where you start on the Raptors for the lead. Doesn't have the info to stop the guy. Hang on, level 2 gank in mid lane. Cream, might need to be careful here.
Doesn't have the... Oh, Monkey! Oops.
Ook. Yeah, not the best there. I mean, Cream, is he gonna die? I think he's fine. He can teleport back in. Has a thingy popping. Monkey has no flash now. Kanavi maybe losing his blue buff. And now the problem is if Kanavi hits level 3, hang on a second, Monkey's in trouble here. He doesn't have flash.
I don't know about this one. Doesn't want to. He does smite for this. Now Monkey needs to run away. The flags come down. Monkey doesn't want to drag his way to it. And Monkey's whole game plan is in serious danger. Kanavi can now potentially look mid as well.
I was actually wondering with Kanavi, knowing there's no flash and the flag had just been used, whether he flashes to keep the Q movement speed up. He could have got a kill there. Kanavi winning out on the jungle matchup now, and yes, Monkey trying to get something done very early on. Cream, it suffered a little bit because he did take some damage from Karis because he had to play with so much respect, so you do get some mid lane value from that. Karis will have to pay that off, and he's been very, very good for W. I think his level up has been insane. But Monkey, you have this window of power of Jarvan. He always was the level 2 ganking king. Falls apart now in the early game at Kanavi. He might just take off.
He might. I don't mind it from Monkey. I see the thought process. That mid lane gank was nearly a work of genius, but now, unfortunately, Karis might be in danger here.
He's going to stop the recall. He was waiting to see if there was a backstep. And again, he's not looking for the kill. He's looking for the stop on the recall, which is what he manages to do. There's teleport from Karis still.
Okay, Dredgeline traded with the root on the other side onto Taeyu. Barrier broken by with Jackie Love, potentially looking for a bit of an angle back. Won't find too much. His health bar high enough not to be too threatened. This is one of those bot lanes that can be quite annoying to get out of lane.
So when you look at trades like this, Jackie Love is actually not looking for damage and kills. He's actually looking to get the double tap on both targets. Typically, you don't split damage in a 2v2. What you do here, though, as Senna, is you double tap each target to get a soul off of both of them. Jackie Love trying to stack up as best you can. Monkey level 3 has red buff. Kanavi still level 3, but a camp closer to level 4.
Right, again, sticking around the Gromp, despite, of course, Cube being shoved under turret there, but I think Monkey being in quantity, and 369 getting a lot of value just individually from the lane, feeling pretty good. Congratulations also to Chris, who's now the number 6 player in terms of games played in the LPL. Yes. 800 hit today.
Yeah, out of the top 10 players, which you might see coming up after I actually get, I'm not going to show that one. 9 out of 10 of the most veteran players in the LPL are still playing. The only one is Yago. Yago is the one person who is not currently active, which is a shame, because I actually think when you've got Annie back in meta, I would like to see Yago back, actually. I miss him a little bit.
He's always been a bit of a character, right? It feels like what was the we'll talk about that a little later because pick off there. In comes the heal on Chris trying to keep himself alive. Speaking of the man, he gets highlighted. Will heal himself back up just enough with the Q, and now actually Jackie stepping on forward for a lot of damage onto Taeyu. Down comes the Jarvan though. We need to go look down bot side, I think. Karis, I know, is not anywhere near level 6. So I want to look where that Jarvan was.
He just hit the vision plant, so you can see that on that part. Monkey doesn't have flash, so he can't actually force the play in the way that he'd like to. Vampire could flash for the hook, I suppose. But Jackie Love, really good trading. Actually, I think Jackie Love's been playing out the center very well for this point in the game. He's getting a ton of different souls from the fighting, and that's always valuable for Senna. You can see that 12 stacks from the early lane can actually be quite difficult. Senna wants to fight. It's sometimes Senna Tahm Kench is a lot more aggressive than he used to be. Navi has red buff, has level 5. Monkey doesn't have flash still, and the recalls just came through.
Chris will scan that one out. Monkey's going to flag drag away, and Kanavi, I'm going to stick on that dragon, but we'll just look to try and threaten over the Raptors. We all know what E stands for. It's Eviscerate Enemy Poultry. That's what you need to watch out. Always an acronym. In comes the Abyssal Dive. Looking for that one. Watch out, Ethan's gullible. Why does Monkey get the flag and drag out to safety, but loses the majority of his health bar to the Blooming Blows.
Now that means that his Raptors are under threat. Taeyu and Vampire must go protect this. Now Vampire will try and flash over. Does land the hook, but there's a Guardian.
Valkyrie's good value onto Kanavi. Now needs to start backing away, burn his own flash, trying to trade that one out. The Shockwave deletes the Lilia though. And now Crisp is in danger, misses the Tongue Lash, and Carrot with that level 6 turns it all around.
Cream needed to come over. Cream makes a mistake. He's had a poor series. If Cream is there, I think you can take the play even with the level 6 to level 5 discrepancy. Obviously, there was going to be a play around those Raptors. Cream was not on the same board page as the rest of the team, and it means that Kanavi and Crisp suffer for it.
Down 10 CS here as well, which is rough. Get part of that field. He's faced Jackie's now in danger. Flash for the Valkyrie on top, but Jackie flashes away himself. He's got himself in the curse of the Black Mist and gets out to safety. Lot of Summoner's Blow.
Yeah, top esports, their early games have been poor. WE's their early games have been good. Been punishing top esports now, and we know that their composition looks good here. Now the fact that Monkey behind in the early matchup, at least from where he could have been, that is a worry, but Kanavi dying gives some time for Monkey to catch up. Now the Dragon will slow down Kanavi a little bit more. The individual matchup for Monkey looking okay.
Now they're trying to bush bait onto Crisp again. Not that easy, of course, because he's still got the thick skin active to work with. Keep himself alive. Jackie needs a bit more damage this time. They choose their targets a little more wisely.
Kanavi's actually, the Dragon resets a little bit there, so slows it down. Yeah, good hooks from Vampire. I mean, I actually don't like these hooks that much. Now, the one that blows the flash I do, but otherwise it's just giving souls over towards Jacqueline, and I don't like that. You've got to get value out of this stuff.
Jackie walks over and autos the Dragon a little bit, helps the side of Kanavi get that Dragon. Will not, though, be able to stick around for the souls from the Dragon because he needs to clear up that wave, and that will be a little bit too much to lose.
So there's the 2 soul spawns from that Dragon, which is nice. Jackalo's about to get to his first range increase, which also gives him 10% crits. Cream does have flash and ult, should be safe here.
Back around for the minion. It's just out of range, even with the command dissonance speed up.
Yeah, Cream safe there. And this is why he locked the Aurora as that last pick. It's very safe against this. If you're playing a Victor, you'd die there. Not the same with this. While all this is happening, 369 has a cult. He's taken 2 plates on topside. Very happily taking himself a the lead he can from this point in the match, and that's keeping Top Esports look a little more healthy in terms of gold.
I remember when turret plates first came in and Jace sort of returned to meta somewhat. We used
You'd
to have
always get 2.
Yeah, we used to have a thing about saying, look, if you're playing Jace, you must get 2 plates. You had a 2-plate minimum in order to have succeeded with the Jace. If you came into mid-game even or without those plates, then you have failed the test.
Monkey going up towards these grubs, no contest from Top Esports, playing a Vampire, using their early power over the center time count, which of course will become more powerful now the level 6 is being hit by the center and soon to be from Crisp as well. He's a level behind. Lost a lot of XP actually for the Romans that he had over towards the Raptors and stuff. Kanavi this time will be able to get some Raptors. Every Raptor camp that Lily gets to steal increases her impact on the game. And Kanavi does need to get a lot of gold. He wants to get to 2 items ASAP. You really need a Seekers. You go towards the Andres and then the Seekers. I think you can play out the game much more effectively. Vampire spotted in this brush. Ward will be taken away. Pot side camps immediately hoovered up by Kanavi. As soon as you put any time as an AD skirmish jungler into an objective, you don't take them quick enough to protect your own camps.
Gonna pick that one up pretty happily. Don't think it'll be a stick around for the Krugs. Be a bit far with Monkey having shown on the mid lane wave. Aurora has got the rough of a shove down here, but look now at Q potentially. Lilting Lullaby. Bellow's Breath will force a flash. But now Kanavi in danger himself. In comes the call of the Forge God. Sidesteps it for the flag and drag after, but things in danger. But they've got a Dawning Shadow, it's all been a bait! They're both gonna die!
They buy into a 2v2, and they are not prepared for Kanavi Lilia. 369 dies on the other side of the map. That's good gold for Team WE on that side as they take some plates too, especially with the 3 grubs allowing more value from that. But the center ultimate, turning the bot side play, we were saying, hey, level 6 has been hit. They can start impacting the map, and Top Esports get a huge victory for Kanavi.
Assuming no mana, and there'll be a depth charge coming from Vampire in a second or two.
369 no mana. I couldn't even cast this to the skies, I don't think. Gets ignited. And yeah, 369 just doesn't have the mana to the play. And also, the center ult can't be cast on both sides of the map at once.
Nope, cannot. But Jackie takes 2 assists, and they do get 2 bot sides. I think they're okay-ish with that. But WE, it's a kill onto the Corki. It gets them towards the mark, towards the feeder strand. It was a necessary trade, because if they hadn't got anything there, that would have been pretty dire.
Kanavi goes back, doesn't get any kill gold for himself, sadly. Goes over towards Cream. Well, I guess Cream's happy with it. 2 kills. And doesn't get a play on the bot side. Actually surprised they couldn't stick around for something like that beforehand. 369. Still ahead in his individual matchup, going towards a more lethality build, choosing not to go Bruiser, wants to go towards Poke, which does make sense. Actually very good versus Jarvan. Jarvan doesn't have that many ways to play against Jace Poke, apart from just engage onto him before it happens.
Press W and pray. There's a shield.
I'm missing a couple of... hang on, there could be a shockwave in. How Monkey's on top side.
Flashes out of it, and Monkey was around. 369 sees it and goes, okay, I can't actually play this the way I wanted to. Nice lane gank from the Jarvan.
On the whole, Monkey doing quite well at getting off of vision. Of course, the last play didn't work in the way that he wanted to. Imagine what could have happened if Monkey had gotten ahead in the early game. This draft is better for me, for my eyes, from WE. Now you've got the point where Lilia's ahead of Jarvan. Jarvan didn't get any early pressure down. What happened here? There was a... oh, it just teleport towards boss.
That's how they switched over summoners, so couldn't get the play because he was quick enough back. I guess that's the way of things.
Yeah. 369 on top side, farming up against that wall now. Cream will look to get a plate here, and we'll get one of them. Of course, no grubs, makes it a little slower to take, but hey, we'll take the one.
I will say, the more I'm looking at this, the more I understand top esports draft, because theoretically, with the Aurora and the Jace, you should have really dangerous side lanes, and then with the Senna and the Tahm Kench sat in mid lane,
sure.
they should actually have a lot of ability to throw that orbital cannon to whatever side lane needs the assist.
Yes, but there you've only got like 1 or 2 tools to keep yourself safe, right? And I don't even think late game that's enough to save someone like a Jace who is very squishy, or the Aurora. Right? Maybe the Aurora's a little more safe for a lot of ages. Taeum walking up gets a decent chunk onto Navi. Dragon in 30 seconds. Top Esports took the first one, so WE would like to stop a second one going over. Top Esports, I guess they could be happy to just let this one go and say, well, we'll
play for 2 items.
We'll play for 2 items and play for side lanes right now. Cream going towards this bot side, will be clearing out. 369 first item Ghostblade, by the way, which is quite nice versus the Ornn and the Jarvan to outspeed their engage sometimes.
Even things like the Orianna and the Cork, you've got a little bit of mobility in the kits with things like the Dissonance, the Valkyrie, just that ability to space things out, especially if you are trying to play the side lanes. And again, in the 1v1s, the 2v2s even, you've got value there as top esports, I think. I think being able to index into that, I see the thought process at the very least.
Jackie has the Shiv, gives him better wave clear in mid lane. Very hard to displace him now. Dragon gets started from W. Not sure actually. And 369 not able to come to it. They're threatening it. Vampire can look for a hook here. Not sure Chris in a great position. Not a great hook from Vampire though.
Just embrace lands, but he will be surviving for another hug. It was a bit of a lie, that.
Still on cooldown. Vampire flashing for the knock.
Gets multiple members and Chris goes down. That was a clean combo. Into the depth charge with the command protect to bring the shockwave on top of Jackie Love. 369 now turns on up, and they murder 2 back. Looking for the call to force. Got those. Monkey now getting down to Taeum. Free firing with the Gatling gun, with the fast bombs. Kanavi now speeding himself up. Hop away from Cream, avoids the searing charge of the wall. It's a 3 for 3.
3 for 3 as Chris went down before that play. God damn, 369 came in with an absolute nuke in the back end of that fight. I was wondering where all the damage came from. Ghostblade chase. Taeum does stay alive and gets a lot of value. And WE, of course, with their jungler dying, can't stay for the dragon either. Kanavi is happy because he can stay and hoover up jungle camps. He, of course, gets himself a kill and another couple of assists in there too. WE, I thought that should be a slam dunk fight. Because Chris, you are not tanky enough to do this. I don't think you should really be hanging out in this kind of play. Vampire goes for the ult flash, gets the multiple knockup. That is a nice play coming through from them. That play only gets them the 1 kill. Jackalov probably should just flash that. He flashes after and dies anyway. His ult actually doesn't even get to trigger. That's a bit disrespectful. But then luckily after this point, just 369 and Kanavi and Cream just shotgun them from melee range.
The thing is, they did still have to go very deep to pick up the side of Jackie Love at the end of that. And then they go, well, you've burned all your flashes and mobility. I can jump on you.
Exactly. Again, it's one of those things where like the flash engages are obviously a specialty of Team WE, but the execution and sometimes the overall strategy of it, sometimes a little bit awry. But like, okay, it's a really cool flash engage. But your Ornn's not there. You can't necessarily get the clean fight. That's often what separated Team WE from the very top of the pack. Have said though, you know, the later this game goes, I think the happier they feel about those engages, and if they're all on the same page, that'll change.
It does show Vampire and Monkey looking to be creative and aggressive with their playmaking, which is good. It's Taeum, the rock of the team, picking up 1,400 gold here on the Corki. A lot of those kills are going to him. Those are good signs for W. It's just then you look at people like Kanavi, who is doing quite well. Cream having picked up a few kills to mitigate the rougher laning phase.
369 picking up the coal.
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah.
It all starts to rack up, and you know, it is within 500 gold.
It's a close game.
A lot of that gold is on that top lane Jace, who I think has a good draft. You know, yes, the Ornn can struggle in the side lanes, but really the poke afterwards, the Thoughty build, it's going to be effective against everyone, really, besides maybe Cube, but especially, I mean, Cube doesn't even feel like he wants to stack armor against so much magic resist. Crisp has the Devour now. Not really had a chance to use it so far. Their plan, do they just try and stop them getting cleanly back towards mid lane, give them the Herald, but then take side lanes instead? 369 on bot side, we'll be able to take some damage there. Might be able to look for something here, Chris.
Oh, that's a good dredge.
Teleport, teleport.
They're going to try and get behind. Jack needs to back away. Can maybe look for a Dawning Shadow to keep people like Monkey in danger. Tries to flag a drag, goes golden briefly. They're going to try and run away. Is the Aurora, but gets knocked up on her retreat into the massive shockwave, and the Frost Bomb brings down 2. Jungle mid is down. It's a triple to TES.
Top Esports are trying to play around this Tahm Kench as though he's a tank, and they fail. Crisp, 0-3, and fail flashes into play. The Tahm Kench could have been any other champion in the game at this point, and I think Top Esports would be happier with it. Crisp having a good old happy game.
How did Monkey get out there? Did I see him use the Battle Herald? I need to check again. Either way, Jackie backs away, can't really be involved in the play once the teleport comes on through, and they can't turn it around on the other side of the fight.
Yeah.
Cube gets another turret. They already got feats of strength off the Herald. That's about as great a sequence as you could ask for WE.
And you compare the bottom river fight we saw just before this into this one around the Herald. This is when they have everyone on the same page, and they can actually close down on the carries. But the Herald was immediately I think it was mid-combat for the Battle Herald. Gets some good damage onto Knight to stop him from determining the play. Cream, not a great ultimate, and Cream uses the E to try and get the shotgun. This is a common mistake we see from Auroras. It punts him back into the ult wall, which teleports him back to the other side of it, like asteroids and whatever. Cream, huge mistake, puts himself out of position, looks for the damage, doesn't realize the ult interaction, and he gets himself killed.
That is rough. Cream should be doing better than that. He's had a rough series, bluntly. He's not being great today. I think there's not many other ways to put it. On the other side, Karis, looking like a good game from him. He's got all the stacks on the Oriana. He's going towards a relatively high damage build. I'm assuming that'll be a Leandri second, but the Ludens into what is on the whole a very squishy team. Even the Tahm Kench, as we've been saying, not really a tank. It's not a farming Tahm or anything like here in this version of the Senna Tahm lane. It is susceptible to the burst.
Yeah, and now suddenly, you know, with all of these kills coming through, Taeyeon is so powerful. And no, you really need now some great poke to land. I don't think WE will give the time for Top Esports for them to get a multiple shot blast kind of standoff. Chris being so weak as well means that there's no frontline for Top Esports. There is zero frontline. This has always been the problem of Tahm Kench. If you start, hang on a second, 369 might get caught. Spots like cannot be walking into the full team.
Get just flag tracked and deleted. Karis picks that one up, and Crisp now in danger as well. I think we are looking like we're going to 5 here in short order. The Abyssal Dive is swiftly into concrete.
Crisp is just incing his ass off. This Tahm Kench didn't help in the laning phase. It's not helped save the carries. I know that the melee supports are starting to run thin in the draft, but Crisp has been so poor at playing as the frontline that WE have had no issues engaging.
We're hitting 18 minutes, and I also want to point out that that is not a great soul count from Jackie Love. 43 stacks. I haven't got there. I do apologize.
Yeah. No. The average is about 50 to 60 at 20 minutes, so he's very low compared to what it could be. He'll probably get up to around 50, I suppose, by the 20-minute mark. But because his support has been so weak, how can you expect him to do anything? This is why we see more Senna Alistair, Senna Nautilus, stuff which can be a little more aggressive as opposed to the Tahm Kench, where if you fall behind, all you do is just tank up skill shots and nothing else happens. Very good vision bait again. W have been playing very well around that. Kanavi has no Seekers, no Flash. He shouldn't walk, he does have the Flash, but he shouldn't be walking up like that. You have no outright being on the bot side of the map. Gives up a quick kill, and of course Chris goes down very quickly afterwards.
That's the old ruse of the jungle. If they were going to fight me, they do it over the camp, right? And they didn't. So they think there's no one there. That was a lie.
So now what was a game within about 500 gold is now not. It's within about, instead it's about 4,000 gold lead for Team WE. 369, 2,000 gold ahead, but the game's not been about him. He's about to get towards his Muramana. Maybe he can assassinate someone in the backline in a good enough fight, but I feel like it's, again, W are never going to give the time to Top Esports to get that poke down. And, you know, I think this has been, sadly, the case for Top Esports. I think, on the whole, their players have been better. I mean, I think actually Karis is massively outvalued Cream. But I think that, just on the whole, Top Esports' early game and their disrespect towards Vision has let W into the game.
Really has. Jack sold a couple souls there. Good for him. Keeps that turret alive, but that'll be second dragon to WE. Continuing to get some value here. The command dissonance starting to strike a little bit harder. That tier 2 will fall as Taeyeon is 6-0-5, the richest man of the game. 3.2k ahead of Asena. That is a rough place to be, and we've seen a lot of Corkies be kind of just, I don't know, ride-alongs in games, ride-alongs in drafts. This game, Taeyeon is the MVP so far in terms of damage at the very least. He is the ace.
He's been doing so much. He's been doing so much work. Karis, though, you know, his shockwave's also been very threatening. Dragon now taken. Top Esports, because they're so far behind in the support role as well, can't even walk up and ward. This is Tahm Kench. This is why we don't see Tahm Kench anymore, folks. Very hard to play it from behind. Always was in the last meta as well. Atacon taken. Cream trying to do some damage to Cube. Gets some damage done, actually. Might be able to force the flash out here.
And they get about some value here. Cube potentially in danger. Shock Blast just wide. Batscan going down, but Monkey already at half HP. Maybe they've got an angle in terms of call the forward guard. The Devour used to keep one alive. But Kanavi flashed on for the lilting lullaby. It's exceptional, but he dies doing it. Can't get the follow-up. I appreciate the attempt, but Taeyun takes his life all the way down. They're still alive. How on earth Cream can't get close enough? And 369 is warded away by Monkey. No one, and I mean no one from WE dies.
Top Esports can't come back against the vision control, against the engage advantage from Team WE. A few too many mistakes around the early fights, much like in Game 2, mean that Top Esports just don't have a platform to play their composition out later. It was already a difficult draft to play, but WE being so much better than Top Esports in the early game has meant that Top Esports haven't had a leg to stand on.
If that had been a little closer, Lilia absolutely eviscerates everyone. I was going to say Devour, but that would be Disarm Kench. Don't want it.
And the big thing here as well is that he doesn't have the Zhonya's completion yet. He had the Seekers for one fight earlier. The Devour is actually not bad for one time. It also delivers Lilia into the play after the CC's down. Very nearly gets a 4-man ultimate. But where's the follow-up? You know, there's no extra CC. Kanavi trying his absolute best, but really due to Chris having such a poor game, after, you know, I think absolutely diffing Vampire for most of the games in this series, it has let WE have such clean team fights.
Been just about tagged the Lilting Lullaby guys with his between world, but couldn't get to the other side of the ultimate because Monkey just engages on them. And again, really good fight from the Jarvan there to prevent that follow-up. Now in a position where the gold lead is expanded again. 6,000 gold leads at 22 minutes. They've got the feats of strength, got the apple. There's so much going their way right now. They've just got the upgraded Immortal Shield Bow on the Corki to make sure they aren't dying anytime soon.
Yeah. So worth noting that the Shield Bow doesn't give you extra HP or anything like that. So the upgraded Shield Bow only gives you extra, I think it's extra AD, I think is all it gives you in terms of the stats.
369 being jumped on here. Seems to potentially be afraid of that volcanic rupture. He's eating a lot of damage, and 369's about the gold lead right now. He's not winning this 1v1 in the slightest. Beginning to try and turn it around, but is knocked out by the second volcanic rupture, and 369 needs to run away. Can't even get the turret and Cube. Just solo kills him. It's all falling apart now. Game 5 is on the horizon. I can hear the song warming up. We all know what it's talking about. Someone is coming away scraped a little more than silver.
WE have not been a top 4 team since 2021, where they made a round 1 playoffs run right the way through to the regional finals. They had so many games in that 21 summer. They sadly lost out on world participation, ending up 3rd in regionals without roster. But it's been a long time since WE could call themselves a top team. It's been a long, and in this split as well, I was a doubter. Unreservedly so. This team looked very poor at the start of the split, but they have leveled up. They've found comfort. Their players of misfits and players which have been booted from other teams have been doing so well in this new home. And Top Esports, a team which got humiliated, embarrassed at first stand, and now getting held to account regionally.
Took till playoffs, but it's finally happening. They were the first place team in the regular split, and it's all coming apart at the seams in playoffs. A replay here. Looks like they tried to jump onto Vampire, and it was just not a good play. As
great shot, fantastic shot play. Yeah, Karis is so strong. Gets a huge Atakan burst there too, because the kills do give you that AoE burst and slow. Let's be honest, this game has been over for a very long time. Top Esports don't have the damage, they don't have the front line. Kanavi started well, now 1-5. I don't blame him for that scoreline because he has no one else that can frontline. The real criminal for this game for me is Crisp at 0-6. He's done nothing. He's not gotten a single assist. This Tahm Kench could have been any other champion. I would have preferred Karma. They hovered out just to win lane. I would have preferred Set if you wanted to be like that engaging champion. We'll get a Devour that. Okay, cool. Well, it's not helping you win the team fight though, is it?
Chris flashes away from his team, but to what end? Where are you going? We'll get staggering blows. So Abyss will dive away, and Cream lucky to get out there. He's not exactly had a great game either, has he, on the Aurora? Started off in lane in a rough spot. Hasn't gone much better from there. He's picked up a few kills here and there, but has struggled to get value as this game has gone on. The Nexus turrets under siege. WE threatening it. The Forge God is once again called up. Have we got a moment to talk about your car insurance? Maybe your goat insurance. Maybe that's what he's more interested in. Trying to force something more. 369 flashes out as Kanavi goes golden, but I think he might be thinking more about silver here. The scrapes are summoning. We're getting ready for that to be an option. WE will not continue their shove quite yet. Won't look to end the game. They've done enough. They turn around now. Monkey perhaps seeing a re-engage angle. A good weirding. Does damage back though. Flashes. And the Dolefold Hex will kill him up. Cube goes Searing charging on in. Cream trying to get more value. Karis burning with the Leandris. Taeyun also low. And they will get some more. Cube now in danger. Reminder, Baron has just spawned. don't think they can look to rush
No,
it
they
even with the
can't.
man advantage.
They can't. With Kanavi dying, I just don't think they can walk towards it. But
Dragon.
WE go a little too far, and yeah, they end up losing a couple. But they can't take objectives. They're too far in their own base. They don't have that much DPS on objectives, unless the Lilia is there. Kanavi might be able to run onto the map and get towards something now. Kara's teleporting in towards mid lane though, means that he could probably defend one of these. He's going to check that dragon. Top Esports, they extend the suffering a little longer.
Was warming up for an endgame call, and it ended up being a little, what's the word? Premature. That's the term we're looking for. Now, Dragon, soul point for an Ornn and a Jarvan and a Nautilus. Yeah, that one kind of sucks. Resets come on through, and I think Top Esports just need to stall for as long as they can.
You know, I look back to this draft, I just wonder whether Top Esports should just ban the Nautilus. Like, just in the first bans, I mean, I called it earlier, it's like, well, he only has, Vampire has one champion left, and that's the Nautilus. Surely they don't give him that. They did, and he's helped Taeyeon get to 10, 1, and 9. Magi's on to Karis now as well. WE, they have more than enough damage. So much damage. Dragon's going to go over towards WE. Top Esports will at least buy themselves some time to farm, but feels like it is way too little, way too late. Not really sure WE will be handing that amount of gold in the form of shutdowns again. Vampire doesn't have flash just yet to force a fight. Baron is up and available, and Top Esports do kind of want to walk towards that. Karis might just be able to shock Chris, but he will die.
Flash over, he's on the blast cone, goes up and down, doesn't really go that much further. They're looking for him now into the Cataclysm. He goes, Call of the Forge God comes right across, but the Dawning Shadow is pretty good. Monkey now in dangerous, Cream on the back end, tries to get something, will go down surely. Monkey stays alive again, just about that triumph coming through at the back end of it all. Keeps him above Leandri's execute threat.
Worth noting, by the way, we are at 27 minutes, and Jekylev's still capped at only 80 stacks. He's really been struggling. Navi, Zhonya's, he will die to a Q double after, though.
Flower gets devoured, stays alive, that's important. Needs to go and starts whacking through this wave a little bit. Nowhere near something like a Rift Maker to keep himself popped up, but can get the wave shoved here, which is potentially valuable. Once he goes towards these Raptors, heal up off that. Baron up in a threat.
5-man unit of WE, low HP on Monkey, but by getting the team red buff, they'll get some regen. 369. Potentially could land a shock blast or two, get some poke. They might be walking into a combo. They see that the Corki isn't there.
Ooh, that last Swellsea could have been a little dangerous at this point in the game.
The Devour earlier means that Kanavi still has flash for potentially a big flash sleep. Still very hard to see Top Esports coming back, but not been a clean end from WE actually. Showcasing again a little bit of that trouble ending games at points from this team. Game extends. Top Esports still in it. Kanavi stealing away red buff. No soul for WE, no Baron for them. They have objective bounties as well if they manage to find an access to any of those objectives, of course. Top Esports, I mean, alive. I mean, limping, but alive.
The items beginning to come on through. 369 has got 4 items on this Jace. He's genuinely terrifying, especially if he can land a good combo. And we see Monkey now was very close to that TP is a little bit deep. 369 has come on in. He gets depth charge. My voice goes up like the octaves, and down goes Kanavi, and they will be ending now.
That teleport sucked. 369. Yeah, put down to the 3 part of that name. WE, I think with those 2 kills, we'll clearly end the game now.
Flash on for Taeyeon, forces to flash, and Jackie avoids the rocket afterwards. Cream here, but in a 3v5, they must hold the line. But WE's story will continue. They'll queue up the Silver Scrapes trap, but I wonder whether it should be Moana instead. How far will they go? The horizon before them. They might just fail the end again. Please, guys, don't let the health bars like this. I have to call lines. You can't be doing it. They will finally bring down Cream. Jackie and Crisp holding on. The health bar's low. Nexus turrets under siege. The Dread Sign lands. And the last remaining defender goes down. He'll take Vampire with him. But we are going to 5.
Top Esports see their bot lane go a combined 1 and 11 in that game. Taeyeon ripping apart.
Didn't get the reset off. Didn't have anything resembling a play. Fiora for 369, my go. Okay, there's another way to break this apart. Try and say, okay, if you're playing through bot lane, we'll draw the Eye of Sauron somewhere else. Play for the 1v1. The issue here is the Nocturne will be faster at ganking that, because the other way the Nocturne can play now is to play through the Cassante and just attack that Fiora repeatedly and trust that the Nico and the Caitlyn will have enough priority by themselves to not need the assist. It's a similar thought process to how Top Esports work, right? Because you can defend the Lucian army, or you can look to play through the Fiora as an additional win con, because the Fiora is a win con in the way that Cassante isn't. And I think that's probably the advantage for Top Esports there. If you get to 2 items there, with the Victor, if we go, Jayos, Let's hear him.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
Oh, this is going to be a blast.
30秒到达战场。
This is going to be so much fun. There's that graph we were talking about. The mid-game spike for WE is really nasty on the 1 to 2 items. After that, 2 items plus, well, then top esports get damn scary, don't they?
全军出击！
Cube could be spotted out there. That'll be 369 wards going down. WE will have Monkey on vision here, probably. There we go, reveals himself. Skarner also pathing from top to bot. Mirrored clears means they'll turn up towards bot lane, where I don't think there's any surprise they're going to be there. Early on, Taeyun and Vampire should have the shove here. Big chunk. Early barrier and heal to try and get lane power. Chris heals and trade as well. But it does mean level 2 is WE's. Vampire ate a lot of damage here himself, but again, Jackie ate the damage on the other side, and he is a lot more important to get damage on because he doesn't have the healing. Another good blooming burst there from Vampire. Really looking for the poke at the level. No tangle barbs or anything quite yet. Level 2 has been hit. Jackie and Chris caught under the turret. Knocked him, pathing down towards the Skarner. The backstep there from Jackie. Audacious charges for Audacious. 11% forward. That would be a shins out E.
我为什么一点儿
Na'Vi on our screen. Also pathing down here. Here to support. You can break the flashes of Vampire and Taeyun here. Caitlyn suddenly has a lot harder time playing the game. Avoiding the Nico clone. I think they must have been spotted there, sure.
爆头？
369 looking for that. Attack on the Vitals, couldn't quite lunge forwards to it. Always the key on Fiora. Can you find those angles? It's always the mini game.
准备，瞄准。
Sante has the ability to jump around to make it a little harder. Hide by those bushes as Kanavi and Monkey trading on the Scuttle Crabs. One, I believe, there by Kanavi. Does have that additional bit of CS. Kanavi needs to back away here. Forced to flash. His Kara's also low as Cream trades with him. Monkey can now potentially look at his topside Scuttle Crab. Good chunk from Jackie Love. Forced a flash on Vampire. The last order would have done him in. Built over Peacemaker and the 90 caliber net goes wide. Man, Nico is like, she is quite, isn't she? Whoa, flash in mid lane. Cream's in danger, flashes in turn. The unspeakable horror will not quite come onto Gravity Field now to put Monkey in danger. We'll have the spell shield there, though, to be okay. .369. Fiora going to be as important a player as anyone else right now. Here we are in game 5. WE on the verge of something historic here. Off esports would love to stop it in its tracks. Not here. E here. LPL at its finest. Bot side. The flash of Vampire does hurt, but again, early CS lead towards Taeyun. What you wanted, it was step 1 of the plan. Imperfect. Again, things like the summoners going down early. The flash in particular is a big one. But those level 1 summoners are back off cooldown. That's not going to be punishable right now. Blooming Burst comes on now. Kanavi here, clearing out some of the walls, trying to give some respite towards this bot side. And that has to be the game plan here. But it means Skarner will be a known quantity. Monkey, level 5, not quite level 6 yet. I think a few more camps for that one. Good chunk onto Vampire. Again. Ow. Too much here. Both others going to be trying checking for the Tangle Barbs is good. The Aqua Prism back that will force the heals in trade. 90 caliber net forced the flash from Crisp as he would have been hit and might have allowed a headshot. Flash heal down. Vamp already burned that heal. Tayin also burning the barrier. So Summoner trades again, but no one down. 20 CS lead bot is problematic though. Monkey is a camp off 6. Won't find a Gromp or anything to pick that up. So they want to dive this potentially. Kanavi cults his back. Going to try and defend his bot lane as they are looking for more here. Upheaval comes on down. Blooming Burst catches Jackie, who has no mana. Trying to pick up as much CS here as he can. Weathering the storm where they can. Those traps underneath the turret making sidesteps really hard. With Relentless Pursuit cleanses. I wish that was a bit of a panic one, honestly. Has to leave the wave. In danger of a headshot and just dead. A flash order would do him in. And the siege commences and continues from Taeyun and Vampire. Green with a very defensive build here with the Tear and the Null Magic Mantle. 369 pops the Grand Challenge. That's a decent chunk there. All out, not blown by Cube. Looking for shove and a back, I think. Dragon secured by WE off the priority bot side, and that will be a win con in and of itself. It's a good soul. That is Infernal. Okay. What's up on the board still? Chem Dragon. Ocean Soul. Hex Soul. Cloud Soul. Ooh, that all sounds quite good as well. But I think a defensive build here on the Victor when you're into Nocturne, into Annie. I can see the thought process here. Good riposte. Let's take a turret shot for it, but she'll be able to reset off. The lane swap early hit from Taeyun because Grubs are spawning and they like to play for both sets of early objective while they are in the ascendancy. Monkey soloing that out. In goes, I suspect not Taeyun, but Vampire in the guise of Taeyun. Monkey has 6, by the way. Paranoia, a possibility now. They've sent the Victor against the Cassante. Assist be Pink being absolutely hammered by Taeyun. I think Monkey might want to look to gank there. Jackie's roaming up, so is Kanavi. Wards all over top esports red side jungle. 369 would love these waves. Just can't step forward, too afraid of potential turnaround. Finally reset, staying in range for the turret aggro. Not the turret aggro, the XP at the very least. Jackie finally matches up against this lane again here as well. And over on the LCP being crazy over there. Apparently it's crazy here too. Oh yeah, it is. WE reminder. Knocked out JDG in 5. Might do the same to top esports. Number 1 and number 3. By a team that barely squeaked into the upper group. Skarner missed W ult, Sam on anti. Oh god, did he? Was busy checking chat. Ooh. Oh dear. That's not good. Navi, they're going to look to drive on through here. Nearly got the ult back up. Hit by the clone. Taeyun's still in danger, getting slowed down. Taeyun has flash, has barrier. Doesn't burn either. Chunk, but no real use of anything to threaten. Monkey on the other side on the Grom. 369 thinks he can trade this. Let's try and get some value. Unspeakable horror comes on down. Won't be proc. Jackie, it's a fair amount of damage. Hit with the first part of the Blooming Blows. Blooming Burst, I apologize. Had a Lilia last game. It's got in my brain.
哪儿打哪儿。我为什么一点儿都不意外？
Third plate secured. There for WE in that top side, of course. Doing a lot of early work. Note that Cube has absolutely rushed the Thornmail. He's into Illusion and a Fiora. Makes some sense. Cream now matching up here in this top side. Give us an Illusion mid lane. I think they might. Decided enough is enough. At this point, Cream is safe enough to start side laning by his lonesome. 2,000 gold out of laning phase right now for WE. That's mostly in the bot side. Maybe not 2,000. It's actually, it's about 1,500. But the majority of that is in the Caitlyn. Good news. What you needed out of this game. Romp taken away by Kanavi. Dragon in 50 seconds. Turret top side going to be attacked by Cube. 369 doesn't want to teleport. We'll lose a fair amount of time. Probably another plate, actually. Slightly awkward rotations from top esports who've been behind on a lot of these swaps, honestly. Green clearing up as many of these minions as he can. Into Taeyun. Can, of course, with the gravity field, just hold the minions in front of the tower. Prevent easy access from Taeyun to get more plates. Can be a pretty good denial pick on that front, can the Victor. Maybe they just move the Victor to wherever the Caitlyn is. Can see that. Jackie Love will look for a shutdown funnel. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's see it. You can get that Lucian culling onto someone with a lot of early leads. That can be very, very potent. Down 40 CS, mostly out of this laning phase. It was always going to be very, very obnoxious unless you could force a way to get summoners off. And they go on the bot side. Cream flashes away. Gonna get hit by the unspeakable horror. Throws down the gravity field. Stunned up. Goes down. No defense is quite in time. And the gravity field is not enough to keep him alive. Karis burns his own flash and TP, but does get the kill. Important there with the Malignance. Vampire. They have his own clone driven into all the Extile impact. First blood comes in at 13 minutes. That will be second dragon for WE. They want to fight this Soda Tau Esports. Maybe. They've got a TP on Cream. He can turn up in 3 seconds. Pot Blossom on the backside. Ends up on the bot lane. But they can lose Vampire for it. Culling up the through. They lose Crispin Trade to 1-4 right now. Kanavi in the back of the pit. Low. Hit for the ace in the hole. Jackie Love still here trying to trade. Can try and get the dragon. Karis still low. Into the backline goes Cream. Trying to get some kills. He's got the Hex Tech Storm going all over the place. Dragon secured by an auto from Taeyun. What on earth was that? 369 is not there. 4v4 of sorts goes wrong. Jackie gets a kill. That's your silver lining. On the back end of it, Karis ends up with 3. 3 for 1. All of them kind of going between the Caitlyn and the Annie. That is about as worst case scenario as possible. Oh boy. Put Cream on that TP. Might be able to clean some people up, but he wasn't quite there in time. Starts off with Taeyun getting to put down a trap and mash Crisp while Jackie does the same onto Vampire. Problem is Kanavi doesn't really survive long enough to fully contest the dragon. Jackie's trading with Taeyun, and then Cream comes on him and tries to play the back end of it, but Monkey gets to flash out of the pit, but it means there's no smite in the pit. But Jackie can't stand there in auto, so can't really get that one. Awkward. Did Kanavi even try to press star there? I don't think he did. Couldn't find an angle. Not quite low enough for the smite, I think. A Monkey was still in the pit by the time that it would have been low enough to smite. A Monkey had to flash out because Cream was about to murder him, and that would have given the reset to the Arcane Storm. Got bigger, would have turned that around. I think if Monkey had died there, we might be talking about a very different fight. Didn't quite happen. Now Cream is 0-2. Feeling a bit sheepish. Suddenly you got a 1,300 gold on the Annie as well. The other person you needed to get a lead. That's a 3k gold lead, folks. I briefly need to cough. Maybe I should have said choked. Top esports lose an upper bracket and then immediately after in the lower. There will be some stories to be told. Monkey, gonna get this Herald, I think. 369 on the Fiora with the Ravenous Hydra. Just quietly playing his game. Managed to turn a game around with the Aatrox earlier in the day. Maybe has to do so again. There goes the ult, getting a big chunk. Monkey also around. Could theoretically look for a paranoia dive here with the Herald as well. Will be forced to reset here. And that's first turret secured as well. Not that it means that they've already got feat of strength for the objectives and the drag and the kills. Was Kalista completely ignored this whole series? Yes, it was. Alex in chat reminding me of a very important fact. The Victor ult doesn't expand and reset until you actually upgrade all your other abilities. I forgot about that bit. Oops. My bad. 369. Just quietly playing up the game best he can. 20 CS, and that's good news. Well, 15, but still. Queen's going to have to give up the side lane again. I think the problem is the moment both these outer turrets fall with a Nocturne, with Caitlyn, Nico, with Annie, this Victor's going to have a horrible time side laning. Those long, long lanes look very long indeed right now. Lucian useless late game? I'm not sure that's entirely true. I think it gets harder to execute because basically, in the mid game where your culling is enough to blow someone up, as true late often between redemptions and lockets and people getting enough shields and various resists to make that quite hard. But if he gets to dance around fighting, gets a lot of rotation, it still scales pretty well with items. Narvis is gone. Oof! Jack is going to eat a chunk as well. They'll drop Herald mid. Top esports, we said they had to be worried about getting snowballed on. That was what WE had to do. So far, the game plan looks good. Another turret. Jackie will relentless pursuit forward, see whether he can catch someone. Couldn't quite. Navi, not a great game from him on this Skarnet. Not so far. He's one of the people who was picking it in the jungle last year before people were really, really on it. Thank frick, UP didn't eliminate this team in planes. It was close, wasn't it, Ocean Salts? What could have been? Cube eats a fair amount of damage. I think 369 just wants to take this turret, get something back on the board for Top Esports. Important turret bounty. And Fiora gets towards 1,000 or so gold lead. This is important. 2 items for the Lucian. You're still 1,500 gold behind. It's pretty miserable. We'll need to start making some value here soon. Guys, Top Esports have to stop the bleeding now, or it's too late. It might well already be too late.
瞄准。我为什么一点都不意外？我为什么一点都不意外？
That's Danielle's.
我为什么一点都不意外？
3 or so minutes still for Soul. And I think Top Esports will have to play around that, and it's going to be a miserable time. They're going to have to try. They've given up every objective this game. They've lost the Grub, they've lost the Herald, they've lost all the early Dragons. I just watched them on Flash. No, I didn't. It was just all day. It was just a level away. Feel bad for 369, yeah. He's tried, hasn't he? He's got the second item. Okay. Second item done for the Skarner. Will be a little tanky. He's only gotten 18 stacks so far. He's not that tanky. Flashes away, stays alive. Over the wall, though. Goes Karis. The Nico will after the tidal wave. Buys some time. Lost the Skarner, though. That's important with I say, Dragon spawning. No, it's not. It's 3 seconds until 3 minutes until Dragon. Quick glance up at that timer. Caught me wrong. There's still the Atakan to play over. Lot burned there to just get the jungler, though. Traps are everywhere, though. Monkey's low. I don't know whether you can still play this, actually, guys. Cream could still really threaten their Vampire. Has to be very afraid of aside from power. Gravity Field will catch out the clone. Crisp still low, but enough of Enchanter here to be threatening. And actually, the 1 kill won't turn into all that much. Jackie Love gets the Ardent Blaze down. Atakan's still angry. Can be dragged into waves like this. It's kind of funny. And breathe. That cost Karis and Vampire their flashes before the next big fight. Crisp is down his, and that's important. He picked off quite easily on the Nami. Skarner down his as well. There's the front line who's been struggling in the front line. Could be hard. Excuse me. Minute and a half until Dragon, but your engage tools don't have flashes for WE. Is that enough? Not enough with 4k deficit to really threaten around this Dragon. Gotten some wards down at least now to Top Esports. That's a bit better. Fighting over that vision. I wonder whether WE feel like they can give this one up. I'd say, yeah, fine.
准备，瞄准。
A little bit risky into a comp like this, giving them time to scale. Fiora is hitting critical mass with the two... With the 2 items. Level 15, still farming away. Not quite the second item for Cream, which would be really, really nice about now. Doesn't have it on the reset either. Ugh. The Andrews would have been great for this fight. 2.5 for Caitlyn. Lucian has foregone completing the boots. I think we back to the Atakan. Pathmaker goes wide for you. 369 looks for a lunge, can't quite find it. Trapline comes on out. They want to force this Atakan before Top Esports are ready. Trapline is there. Top side, picture in picture. Culling comes on down. Vampire will be forced to heal. Clone blocks it. In comes the Paranoia. They come on over to try and fight this regardless. Karis from the flank angle. From the backline they go. Jackie Love in danger. Absolutely eviscerated. Vampire does get onto Cream, who just turned it around. Blows up that one. They've lost 2. Massive damage, and they steal away the Atakan. Cube is in, but to what end? TES not helping anyone. He has to flash on out. That was the problem with the Nocturne. 2 for 2. Karis in danger. Gets the stun. It's on to Clean. Taeyu's still very scary. You need to reset here, surely. Back away. Look to fight another day. Ace in the hole. Not enough to kill. Cream still has TP. Crisp may have to reset. They're on to the Dragon. They don't have a smite, but 369 is around. They're going to have to give up soul off this. They got the Atakan, but couldn't keep the health bar high enough to make this truly threatening. 369 wants to come play this. TP in, down to 2,000 HP. It will be a smite fight. Stunned up. Needs to get on into the back. And this one against Jerry Book to get the play. The Dragon goes down, but what about the fight afterwards? Karis low, but just turns around and murders Fiora, who chooses violence over Dragons and will die for it. Flash away, and the auto was in the air. WE gets soul. May fumble the Atakan, but the damage from this Caitlyn and Addy will not be ignored, will not be denied. Nearly for 369. Let's have a look at the replay again. As it starts, the Top Esports beginning to punish some of the dive. Well, it was supposed to happen before the snowball got very extreme. They jump onto Jackie. And he gets popped. Into the mid lane we go, though. Flash away. Karis doesn't get the engagement he's looking for. Vampire can't find it after. Pulled back under the turret. Big for Monkey, who will just about survive. Gets the smite. Slow! Hang on! How did that happen? Tippers just ran at the Lucian!
Unstoppable.
Just ran at him! Not even a flash, it's just a bear slap! Vampire goes on in! No thresholds to be found there, be welcomed into the enemy jungle. Navi just about surviving it, but the Baron's going on down and you've lost your bot lane. Not your mid lane. Down to 1200 HP. Karis is low. Monkey is low. Cream has got an Arcane Storm and a Dream. Kanavi is still here. 369, the back end, looking to potentially threaten. They will force WE off Baron. And with the resets coming on through, I think they can look to pick up the mid lane turret. Let's have a look again. What happened? Jackie was deep. Looking to clear out this wave, get some priority, make sure they did have ways to get some threat around the Baron, but then Nocturne ults, and Jackie jumps away. Has got people behind him, and they cleanse, and Monkey's then really deep. Good flash away. Nearly baited W really deep, but the blooming blow, and the Tibbers just too much. They can't hold him. As Jackie just stands and decides that Tibbers is going to be too much and just gives a kill over. Bit awkward. Almost a nice bait onto Monkey. They nearly dragged him under, but they couldn't quite put enough damage into him while he was CC'd.
准备，瞄准。
Almost. But I assume he just decided he wasn't going to be able to survive the Tibbers or just ignored how much damage it would do. Either way, little embarrassing. 369, the Lord and Savior, is still a problem in a side lane. 2.6k ahead. Building towards a Sterak's gauge. Second wealthiest man on the Rift. 1,000 gold behind Taeyun, though. He's at 3 items on this Caitlyn. Youch. And Topher strikes part 3 goes wide. Looking to stack him up again. Monkey looking for a potential paranoia angle down here. On they go. Grand challenge goes on down, trying to get some autos in. The fear is there, and there's just nothing to be done, and they can't threaten elsewhere on the map. Not the Sterak's, it's the Hull Break, of course. Sorry, I should have realised that. But either way, he's dead.
瞄准。
A little bit awkward that, and you've just lost your only fed member.
不意外。
And now have to be wary of Baron. In comes Cube. And the Baron is started again. Cream split off. Navi trying to drive on through. They're trying to chunk his Dracula. Gets a big chunk onto Karis. Down half HP. Kanavi can still look to get through the back of the pit. Very hard to keep the Skarner out. Can look to jump on through the wall. Karis threatening. Driving around the back end of this. 3k HP. They might just look for the fight. The tidal wave jumps across. Is taken. Vampire into the back line. Only keep Jackie level away for a second. The Skarner Impale is onto Cube. Not the best target. They get the Disintegrate. Creep trading with Monkey and losing. It's an abysmal fight. And Cream dies as well. 3 for none. Baron. And a mid-lane wave that was so artfully prepared earlier. WE may have just finally broken the camel's back. The cracks that have been there all split long. The things that made you wonder, yeah, our top esports really the best team in the league? The scoreline is one thing. The occasional papered over wound will not deny the problems they've seen. They have killed Monkey, but there's still the Nexus turret under siege. And WE will be the LPL first seed from spring. The regular season champs, the regular season MVP. How far will they climb? Another